Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve. Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into a time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
An hour of crime on this Tuesday edition of Classic Radio Theater with an episode of Boston Blackie, Calling All Cars, Let George Do It, I Was a Communist for the FBI, and Superman. That's all straight ahead on this Tuesday, the 16th day of April, 107th day of the year, 259 days left till we get to 2024. A bill ending slavery in the District of Columbia became law on this date in 1862. In 1881, in Dodge City, Kansas, Baton Masterson fought his final gun battle. In 1912, Harriet Quimby became the first woman to fly an airplane across the English Channel. In 1926, Lolly Willows by Sylvia Townsend Warner, distributed as the first Book of the Month Club selection. Premiering on the Blue Network of NBC on this date in 1935, Jim and Marion Jordan, Fibber McGee and Molly.
What particular statement in that book are you quarreling with?
Well, listen to what it says about the feeding habitats of the pelican.
All right.
It says the pelican feeds occasionally on other things besides fish, but it definitely prefers marine life. Now, that is ridiculous.
Why is it?
There ain't a pelican living that could get in the Marines.
Now, due to Marion Jordan's health issues, the show transitioned from a live weekly half-hour to a pre-recorded 15-minute daily show. The quarter-hour shows were just as funny, if not funnier, as the half-hour shows. The show finally ended in 1956, resurrected for short segments on NBC's multi-hour Monitor program from 1957 to 1959. Marion lost her battle with ovarian cancer in 1961, and Jim died ironically on April Fool's Day, 1988. In 1943, Dr. Albert Hoffman discovered the psychedelic effects of LSD. In 1947, an explosion on board a freighter in port caused the city of Texas City, Texas, to catch on fire, killing almost 600 people. And a few days ago, in one of our news segments, we reported the after effects of that, lawsuits against the government for part of the problem of why that all went down. 1947, Bernard Baruch coined the term Cold War to describe the relationship between the U.S. and the Soviet Union. 1963, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. penned his famous Letter from Birmingham Jail while incarcerated in Birmingham for protesting against segregation. In 1972, Apollo 16 launched toward the moon from Cape Canaveral, Florida.
Apollo 16 now 62 nautical miles in altitude, 135 nautical miles downrange. Apollo 16 now 33 feet shorter and 9,000 pounds lighter. Unencumbered now for its mission in space.
16 Houston, 4 minutes. Everything looks great down here.
Everything looks good up here, too. Hey, Gordy, you ought to see that horizon. Just gorgeous.
Commander John Young and lunar module pilot Charles Duke spent 71 hours, just under 3 days, on the lunar surface, during which they conducted 3 extravehicular activities or moonwalks, totaling 20 hours and 14 minutes. In 1990, Dr. Death, Jack Kevorkian, committed his first assisted suicide attempt. And it was in 2004, released on this date, the tender love story that is Kill Bill Volume 2.
Was my reaction really that surprising?
But I never thought you would or could do that to me.
I'm really sorry, kiddo, but you thought wrong.
Uma Thurman, David Carradine starred in the film and featured in that clip from 2004. The deadliest mass shooting in modern American history to that time occurred on this date in 2007 at Virginia Tech University.
Well, today the university was struck with a tragedy that we consider of monumental proportions. There were 2 shootings which occurred on campus. In each case, there are fatalities.
A Virginia Tech senior shot 32 people to death and injured 23 others in 2 separate attacks before committing suicide. Guns prohibited on the Virginia Tech campus. In 2008, the Supreme Court ruled in the Bays versus Dees decision that execution by lethal injection does not violate the Eighth Amendment ban against cruel and unusual punishment. And in 2018, the New York Times and the New Yorker magazine won the Pulitzer Prize for public service for breaking news of the Harvey Weinstein sexual abuse scandal. Passing away on this date in history, the founder of her famed wax museum, Marie Tussaud, Madame Tussaud. Also, Robert Urich from Vegas, football sportscaster and player Pat Summerall, and from Night Court, Harry Anderson. Born on this date, inventor Wilbur Wright. Also, Charlie Chaplin, Barry Nelson, Peter Ustinov, Henry Mancini, Rudy Pompili of Bill Haley and the Comets. Also, Edie Adams, Ed Townsend, singer, songwriter. Also, jazz flautist Herbie Mann, English singer Dusty Springfield, son of a preacher man, and Silly Silly Fool, singer Selena, born on this date, as was Jerry Rafferty, Baker Street, and from F Troop, the lovely Melody Patterson, Wrangler Jane.
Hi, this is Jeff Foxworthy. It is now time for the birthday announcements. The following people are now officially older than dirt.
Those who are still with us include singer Bobby Vinton, 89 years old today. Fine basketball player, but still remembered for his role as one of the pilots in the parody motion picture Airplane, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, 77. You knew him as Stimpy from Ren and Stimpy, Roger Klotz on Doug, and Philip J. Fry on Futurama. Billy West, 72 today. Actress Ellen Barkin is 70. The Osmonds, Jimmy Osmond is 61. From Pretty in Pink and 2.5 Men, John Cryer is 59. Martin Lawrence, also 59. Vicky Guerrero, the wife of the late Eddie Guerrero, and did wrestling manager, 56 years of age today. And from American Odyssey and Stranger Things, Sadie Sink is 22. Those just to be the people who celebrate the 16th day of April as their birthday. If this is your birthday,
we baked you a birthday cake. If you get a tummy ache and you moan and groan and woe, don't forget we told you so. Happy birthday! Happy birthday!
Make a wish, dear, and blow out the candles.
Here they go.
Quite appropriate for this crime program of Classic Radio Theater on a Tuesday. We start up going back 78 years, April 16th, 1948, for an episode of Boston Blackie starring Dick Kollmar and the baseball player murder. That's next as Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox continues.
President Biden recently released a massive $6 trillion budget, the largest budget in U.S. history. And guess who pays the bill? That's right, you, the American taxpayer. American citizens and business owners will be paying more taxes. That's a fact. And if you owe back taxes, they will be coming after you to collect payments. In fact, President Biden also hired thousands more IRS agents to go after you. If you got a letter from the IRS and you know you owe back taxes or you haven't filed in years, don't put your head in the sand. Call us today. We've saved our customers millions of tax dollars. One quick, free phone call will show you how we can reduce your past tax bill and save you thousands. Guaranteed, or you pay nothing. Call now.
800-932-1431. 800-932-1431. That's 800-932-1431. Paid for by the Tax Helpline.
While Dick Kollmar is probably best known away from radio for his roles in the Broadway stage and dealing with producing shows and the like, and a stage actor, and his best known roles on radio was one during a morning show, Breakfast with Dorothy and Dick. Or was it Dick and Dorothy? I think it was with Dick and Dorothy on WOR Radio in New York City. Of course, he was married to a newspaper woman and panelist on What's My Line, Dorothy Kilgallen. Dick Kollmar, starring as Boston Blackie in this series from 78 years ago, April 16th, 1946, and the baseball player murder.
Hey, Lefty, come here, will you?
Sure, boss. What's up?
I'm shifting the batting order for today's game.
Yeah?
I'm going to have Roos lead off, Duncan batting second, and I'm moving you up to third.
Yeah.
Mike Allen will bat fourth in your old spot.
All right with me, boss. Just stick me anywhere in the lineup where I get a chance to poke a couple. I'm happy.
Right. Now, Lefty, you're team captain. Write out that new batting order and give it to the umps, will you?
Sure, boss.
And tell Mike that he's batting fourth. Oh, by the way, where is he? He was around for batting practice.
No, he's still around. He's over there in the corner making a phone call. I'll go tell him.
Tell him I won't hate him if he puts a couple out of the park.
Okay, but I got an idea he knows that. How's the arm, Joe?
Oh, it's coming around. Steve's been working on it.
Good.
Hello?
Having trouble, Mike?
Bad connection. I think it's okay now. Hello? Hello?
Hello, I can hear you now.
Okay. Is Blackie home?
No, he's not. This is Shorty. Who's this?
This is Mike Allen. Look, tell Boston Blackie I've got to talk to him. I'll call him right after the game today.
And now, back to our story. And in a few moments, we'll meet Dick Kollmar as Boston Blackie. Enemy to those who make him an enemy. Friend to those who have no friend.
This is Clem McCarthy, continuing with the last half of the first inning, folks. No score as yet. No score, and 2 out, and Roos is at second. Mike Allen is up. Here comes
Shorty,
the pitch.
do we
It's
have
a
to
strike.
listen to
Oh!
I just want to hear what Mike Allen does.
Gosh,
I called you just before game time, and I talked to him personally. Okay.
Bradley sneaks a look at second.
What
He
about
moves close to the bag.
I don't know, Miss
Now
Wilson.
he's facing the plate. Here comes the pitch. Allen swings. It's a line drive over the third baseman's head. Roos is coming in. He scores,
Hooray.
standing up. Allen's heading for second. McGuire fires the ball. Allen slides, and he's safe.
We're in.
But wait a minute, folks. Wait a minute. Allen isn't getting up. He may have twisted his ankle. Harry, hand me those field glasses, please. Thank you. Folks, Mike Allen didn't twist his ankle. He's bleeding from a hole in the top of his head.
What?
Here it looks like he's been shot, and it looks as if he's dead.
Holy mackerel.
Okay, now, you ball players, all of you, line up against those dressing room lockers. Oh, where's the manager? Which one of you is the manager of this club?
I am Inspector Faraday. I'm Mac Thomas.
Okay, you. One of your ball players was shot with a rifle a little while ago out in the ballpark. Now, who could have killed him?
I don't know, Inspector Faraday.
You don't know, I don't know. Who does know? Any of you guys got any ideas? Well, how about you? Who are you first?
I'm Lefty Jones, Inspector. I'm captain of the team. All I can tell you is there never was a cleaner ball player in the business than Mike. Or a cleaner living guy either. Everybody liked him. Is that right, Mac?
Oh, fine. Well, he was killed, so somebody didn't like him. Now, we know it wasn't any of you guys. From the angle of the bullet, we know the shot came from the center field stands. But from who in the stands? There were thousands of people out there.
Look, Inspector, Mike was my friend. Whoever did kill Mike better hope that you find him before I do, because it'd be a pleasure to bounce a bat off his head. We don't know anything.
You told my assistant an hour ago that you remember Mike calling Boston Blackie before the game.
Yes, but Blackie wasn't home, and I don't know what he wanted to talk to him about.
Well, I got men out looking for Blackie. Now, let's get down to facts. You, Donlin.
Yes, sir.
You got any reason to believe Mike Allen was mixed up with anything crooked?
Mike? Not him. Lefty told you he was the cleanest ball player in the league. He was.
Well,
All right, you get in there, Blackie. Come on inside. Here he is, Inspector. Boston Blackie. I found him snooping around out in the grounds.
Oh, yeah? Okay, you guys. Sit around on those benches over there and relax.
Take it easy.
Well, Blackie. So Mike Allen made a phone call to you before the game, huh? What did he want?
I don't know. I wasn't home before the game.
Where were you?
Out.
You're going to be a whole lot more out before I get through with you. Where were you when Allen was shot?
Still in the same place, Faraday. Out.
Out where?
No place in particular, just out.
Rollins, grab his arms.
Yes, sir.
Now, maybe we'll get somewhere.
Just a minute, Rollins. You haven't got this arm very tight here.
No?
Here, try a better grip.
How's that?
Oh, good and tight. Okay. That'll do it. What now, Inspector?
Now I search you, that's what. Let's see your coat pockets. Mm-hmm. Change. Paper clip. What's that for, Blackie?
To clip papers, Faraday. See, you learn something every day.
And this. What's this, a hat check? No, it's a rain check for a ball game. For this ball game, too. What do you know about that? So you were in the stands watching the ball game this afternoon, huh?
Guilty as charged. What's the penalty for that?
I'll penalty you. I'll find a reason for you to kill Allen. I'll prove you had the opportunity.
Faraday. Dear friend Faraday, in reply to your most recent and most ridiculous suspicions, may I say that A, I did not kill Mike Allen. B, I came to the park here today to see a ball game. And C, I am going to help you find Allen's killer.
Oh, yeah? Well, D, E, and F, you're going to keep out of my way, and you're not leaving town. You get that? Now, what's that?
A very pretty watch, that, I'd say.
Lefty, where are you?
Here I am, honey, right here. What's the matter?
Oh, Lefty, thank goodness you're all right. I heard over the radio that a ball player was killed. I thought...
Just what did you think, lady?
Who are you?
He's Inspector Faraday of the police, and if you stay here one more minute, he'll make you a suspect.
This is my wife, Inspector. Darling, it was Mike who was shot.
Mike? Oh, no.
Well, Mike will be glad to hear that.
Mike dead? Oh, Lefty, I can't believe it.
It's true, dear. I know it's hard to realize.
Okay. Now, where were we?
You, my dear Inspector, were in a blizzard, as usual. Now, I have a request to make. May I go?
Why not? I can always lay my hands on you when I want you. I've got all these ball players to question. Only keep away from this ballpark. Do you hear, Blackie? Keep away.
Okay, pal. I'll run home now, but you'll need an awfully big scorebook to keep the errors you make before you finally strike out on this case.
All right, Blackie. Now that I've ripped my only pair of nylons climbing over a fence to get in here, tell me what we're doing in a ballpark at 10 o'clock in the evening.
We're going to see a ball game, darling.
At this time?
It's a night game.
Oh, without any lights?
Sure, the fireflies are playing the mosquitoes.
Oh, Blackie, please.
Please you, or please what?
Please tell me what we're doing here. You told me you'd tell me why we were here when we got here. All right, we're here. Now, why?
I also told you that I didn't want you to come. Why don't you remember that, Mary?
Oh, my memory's a convenient kind. Besides, if I didn't come, who'd hold your flashlight?
I would.
Then I'm glad I came. I don't trust you with a flashlight. You'd probably trip over something and break your neck.
Who, me? I never tripped over anything in my...
What were you saying? Oh.
Whoever left a pitcher's box in the middle of a baseball
That
diamond?
was very, very careless of them. Come on, Blackie, tell me what we're doing here.
All right. We're on the way to second base. That's it, right over there.
That's very helpful. Thank you very much. And now tell me what's second base.
It's what Mike Allen was sliding into when the shot caught him in the top of the head.
Darling, we know that. Why come out here?
I want to try something. Here we are, Mary. Now, as I remember the game this afternoon, Mike Allen got up to the plate, wiggling his bat and moving around. He wasn't much of a target until after he hit the ball and slid into second base, here. Then for a moment, he was still.
Go ahead.
That was the moment the murderer was waiting for. He fired the shot that killed Mike. Faraday figured the angle of the bullet indicated the gun was fired from the grandstand. I want to see if he's right.
Okay, but what do I do all this time?
Well, you're the second baseman.
Oh, goody.
You stand right there. That's right. Now, I'm going to be Mike sliding in. I'll start the slide from about here. And here I come.
Oh, Blackie. You ruined your suit.
Oh, not to mention what I did to my stomach in Faraday's theory. Oh. Mary, listen.
Right.
There are two kinds of slides. One is the fall away, where the runner comes into the base feet first.
All right, I'm listening.
The other is where he comes sliding in on his stomach.
Just like you did.
Yeah. And here's the big difference. In the fall away, the top of the slide is heads out toward the stands. In the stomach slide, the top of heads... It's toward... Yeah, let's see. It's toward the scoreboard. Mary, Faraday figured that Allen used the fall-away slide. That's natural. Most ball players do.
Well, didn't Alan?
No, he came in on his stomach. I saw the game today. Faraday figured the shot came from the stands. Actually, it came from behind the scoreboard. Let's take a look at that. Here are the steps leading up to the back of the scoreboard, Mary. That's what we want to see. Come on.
Listen, darling, we walked up here awful fast. Just wait till I get my breath back.
Fine beauty you are. You take your own breath away.
Fine friend you are. Get me out to a ball field and don't even throw me a ball to catch.
You've got enough trouble catching your own breath. Here's the door.
Whoa, it's open. Now you can't show off and pick the lock. Okay, at least I get some compensation from that.
Huh. It shouldn't be open. Well, come on inside and let's have that flashlight.
Right? Here it is, and here I am.
The way I figure this, Mary, the murderer hid up here until he could get a good shot at Mike Allen. When Allen slid, he shot.
Well, wasn't there a boy up here? A boy who puts the balls and strikes and outs and everything up?
There should have been. Yes. Yes, there was a boy here, Mary. There he is over there in the corner. The murderer probably knocked him out, but he hit too hard.
Oh, Blackie, he's dead. No wonder the door wasn't locked.
No sign of who the murderer might have been.
Blackie, let's get out of here. If Faraday ever finds you here with that body, he'll never let you out of jail.
I know, but what would Faraday be doing here?
What would Faraday be doing up here? I'd be following you, Blackie.
You could get a bloodhound to do that. He'd do it faster and look better than you do.
Aha. I thought I told you to stay away from here, Blackie.
Yes, I suppose you did. But you didn't tell Miss Wesley to stay away, and I couldn't let her come out here unescorted, could I?
Inspector, do you know that at first he wanted to let me come out here alone? The cad.
Miss Wesley, don't I have enough trouble with Blackie?
Aren't you sure, Inspector?
Oh, sure, I'm sure. And I'm also sure that you had something to do with the murder of Mike Allen. That ought to prove to you, Blackie, you're not so smart, and I'm not so dumb.
Now back to Boston Blackie. After Mike Allen, baseball star, is mysteriously shot while sliding into second base, it is learned from Lefty Jones, another ball player, and his wife, that Mike had the cleanest record of any man in the major leagues. Boston Blackie, Inspector Faraday's perennial suspect, has figured out that the shot that killed Allen came from behind the baseball scoreboard. And he's investigating the scoreboard when Faraday surprises him. To complicate matters, the scoreboard boy has been found murdered. As we return to our story, it is a few minutes later, and Blackie, Mary Wesley, and Faraday are still up behind the scoreboard.
That's all I've got to tell you, pal. You were following me, so you know I didn't kill this boy here. All I've done so far is show you where the shot that killed Allen came from.
Blackie, why is it you always show me something you think I don't know?
Why, Inspector? Because I always have one less suspect to look for than you do. You waste too much time on me.
Blackie, I'd like to go home, please.
What are you asking him for? I'm the one who decides where you're going to go.
Well, where am I going to go, Inspector?
Home. Take her home, Blackie. And believe me, if you don't stay out of this case from here in, it'll be bad news for you.
Believe me, Inspector, if I do stay out of this case, that'll be good news for the murderer.
It don't look like much of a hotel to me, Blackie.
You've got to take what you can get nowadays, Shorty. Besides, baseball players travel a lot, and they're used to once-over-lightly accommodations. Let's go in. Push the revolving door, Shorty. I want to know what it's like to be a parasite.
Okay, boss. Don't look like much of a lobby either. Nobody around.
Except the porter. Oh, boy.
Yes, sir. There's something I can do for you?
Yeah, where is everybody? How do I find out a certain room number?
Well, if I want any information around here, I'd go ask the clerk.
There he is. The desk is over there in the corner, Blackie.
You're so right, Shorty. Thanks, boy.
That's all right, boss. Neat, please, and all neat.
What is there about me that attracts characters, Shorty?
Meaning me, boss?
Well, let's just say including you. Oh, I beg your pardon, sir. I'd like some information, please.
Yes, sir?
Would you tell me what room Lefty Jones is in, please?
I'll have to announce you, sir, and the Jones phone is busy. Would you mind waiting?
Not at all. By the way, do many of the ball players stop here?
No, sir, not many. Only Mr. and Mrs. Jones.
Mr. and Mrs. Jones. What position does she play?
I beg your pardon?
Sorry, ain't you, boss?
Very. Say, that was a terrible thing out at the ballpark today, wasn't it?
Yes, it certainly was. Mr. Allen used to come here to visit the Joneses very often.
He was a great ball player. Ever see him play?
No. My work here is pretty confining, and I never did have much of an interest in baseball. Oh, the Jones wire is free. Who shall I say is calling?
Boston Blackie.
Just a moment, please. Hello? Oh, Mrs. Jones, this is Mr. French at the desk. There's a Mr. Boston Blackie to see you? Very well. You may go right up. The elevator is over there. It's self-service, room 328.
Room 328, he said. That's right here, boss.
Among my many assets is the fact that I can read numbers too, Shorty, but thanks anyhow. Hold it a moment.
Come in.
Hello. I met you, or rather saw you yesterday, Mrs. Jones.
Yes, I did see you yesterday, Blackie.
Well, thanks for remembering. This is my friend Shorty.
How do you do? My husband isn't home. Is there anything I can do for you?
That's a leading question, Mrs. Jones, but all I want is some information. What do you know about Mike Allen's death?
Only that the police thought you might have killed him.
That's all?
That's all. And now, would you mind...
Thank you. I'm sorry I bothered you. We'll be leaving now. Oh, by the way, this is rather a remote neighborhood. Will I have any trouble getting a cab?
I'll have the clerk call one for you.
Thanks.
Yes?
Joe, my
Doris.
friends...
I've got to talk to you.
Not now.
But I tell you I must. Doris,
Would you mind calling a cab for my friends now, please?
Of course. I'm sorry.
Thank you. You'll have Ernest the porter get you one, Blackie.
Thank you. I'm sorry I bothered you, Mrs. Jones. Oh, there's one more thing. Should Inspector Faraday get in touch with you, please don't mention my visit here, will you?
Of course not. Goodbye, Blackie. I'm sorry I was rude when you first came in.
Forget it. Come on, Shorty. Put down that magazine. Let's go.
Huh? Oh, okay, boss. Only the pictures were getting awful pretty.
Goodbye, Miss Jones. Thank you again. And you won't forget I was here in case Inspector Faraday asks you.
I won't. Goodbye.
Goodbye, ma'am.
Frenchie. Frenchie.
Yes? What is it?
Those two men leaving here. Stop them. And call the police immediately.
Ground floor. All out, Blackie.
Right, Shorty. Say, what did you think of Mrs. Jones?
The gal we just left upstairs? Well, if you ask me,
Boss, stay where you are.
Hey, boss, the clerk.
I don't mind the clerk so much as that gun he's
Don't
holding
move,
bothers me.
The police will be here in a minute.
Hey, boss, the way his hand is twitching makes me nervous.
How nervous, Shorty? Nervous enough, maybe, for you to faint?
I got it, boss.
Get off of me. Get away from me.
Mighty nice fainting, Shorty. Gives me time for this.
Oh!
That clip did it. He's out now, Shorty. Let's you and I get out, too.
And what, Mr. Boston Blackie, were the results of your visit with Mrs. Jones?
I'm not sure, Mary, but I've got an idea. Let's have that telephone.
Why, see? That's French for here it is.
Grazie. That's Italian for thanks.
Mm-hmm.
You can't outlanguage me, lady.
Silly of me to try, wasn't it?
Mary, you couldn't be silly trying anything.
Why, thank you.
Quiet now.
Oh.
Hello?
Hello. This here's Ernest, the porter, Mr. French. I think you want to talk to me.
What are you talking about, Ernest?
Mr. French, I was at the ball game today. Got there early on account of you gotta get there early to get seats in the bleachers, you know. And I saw you sneaking in back of the scoreboard.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I think you do. In an hour, I'll be in a room at 700 West 124th Street. It might be a good idea for you to come up and discuss this matter, don't you think? Goodbye.
Darling, would you mind telling me what was the big idea of the minstrel routine?
Well, first of all, nobody seems to have a reason for killing Mike Allen, but the batting order of yesterday's ball game was switched at the last minute, with Mike batting in Lefty Jones' spot. Now, suppose somebody didn't know it was switched and knew only that Jones usually batted in the fourth slot.
Well, then that somebody wouldn't know much about baseball. All lineups are subject to change without notice.
That's right. And the hotel clerk I just talked to doesn't know baseball at all. It was too far from the scoreboard to see a player's face, and maybe he intended to kill Jones, who usually batted fourth.
Yes, but why would he want to kill Jones?
I heard the talk between him and Mrs. Jones. Why, that gal has him doing handsprings. Maybe he figured with Jones out of the way, he could get her to marry him. If I'm right, he'll come up to meet me, and I'll put the heat on him and turn him over to Faraday on ice. Thanks for letting me use your room, Shorty. When you hear a knock on the door, it'll be the room clerk, French. So scram out the fire escape, right?
Well, suppose there's no knock on the door, boss.
Then French is probably innocent. Only I wouldn't want to think that. There he is, Shorty.
Just a minute, boss.
Get out the window, Shorty.
Okay, boss, I'll be seeing you.
Just a minute. Is that you, boss?
Is that me, boss? No, it's me, Faraday, and I'm... Blackie, what are you doing here?
I could ask you that question with better reason, believe me.
I get it, Blackie. Now you're adding blackmail to your other activities. You called French and gave him some story about seeing him go behind the scoreboard yesterday, huh?
And he called you and told you that, huh?
Of course. Only he said the hotel porter called him. Now, what's that all about?
That was me playing hotel porter, Faraday. I think I've got something.
Yeah, and I've got you, which is nothing.
Listen. I think French shot Mike Allen,
Yeah?
thinking he was killing Lefty Jones, and that he still thinks the porter did see him at the ballpark. Look, he could never stop me from telling what I knew if I were the porter and did see him, could he?
So?
So he told the story to you, knowing if he did, that no matter what I said from there on, he'd be in the clear. Faraday, I hate to ask for favors, but, well, this time I'm going to.
This time you've got to ask for favors. I got a gun in my pocket I'll use in a minute if you get tough.
Here's your gun. I took that out of your pocket right after you came in here.
What?
Here, take it. It's heavy. Now, listen to me, Faraday. Give me one more chance to prove that French is the man we want. One chance in 1 hour. What can you lose?
One wonderful case against you. All right, go ahead, Blackie. Only you better make it good.
Thanks, Faraday. Be in the hotel lobby talking to French in an hour when a certain phone call will show you what a phony he is.
It's just like I told you, Mr. French. When we got up to that room on 124th Street, there was nobody there.
Well, I knew there was some kind of mistake somewhere, Inspector.
Yeah. Well, I'll just hang around here and grab a smoke for a minute, and then I'll go
Oh, excuse me, Inspector. Hello? Victor Hotel?
You called the cops. That wasn't smart, boss.
Oh, just a minute. I'll see.
Oh, somebody there? Huh?
Yes. Yes, of course.
I get it, boss. Okay. Just don't try the same trick again. You got 30 minutes to show up here so we can talk business.
I see.
That's all.
Certainly. I'll be glad to. Goodbye. The room shortage is getting worse all the time, Inspector.
Yeah, we even noticed that down at the jail. Well, I'll be seeing you, French. I'm going home.
Goodbye, Inspector. I'm going off duty soon, but I can't go home. I've got to go see a friend of mine.
Come on in, boss. I seen you coming down the street, so I know it's you this time.
Ernest? Where are you? Turn on the light.
We don't need no light, boss. It's busted in the first place, and besides, I can feel money. I don't have to see the color of it.
You can feel money, huh? Maybe you can feel this, too.
I wouldn't shoot no more if I was you, Mr. Friend.
What?
Somebody's likely to get hurt.
Where are you?
Somebody named you.
Where are you, you blackmailing?
Right here. Only I'm moving around a little. I'm the restless type.
I'm getting out of here.
That's gonna be a little tough. The door is kind of locked a bit.
What do you want? What is it?
For one thing, I don't want to be a porter no more. And a little dough would fix that. I want to get paid for spying on you and Mrs. Jones.
So you used to watch us, huh?
Sure. And I seen you at the ballpark, too. Like I said. Chances are the scoreboard boy saw you, too, so you had to kill him. That's worth $1,000, ain't it, boss?
All right. You know what you're talking about. Come here and get your money.
Okay. Here I come.
And there you go.
I forgot to say I was coming, but I was ducking, too. You try and duck this.
Oh.
Throw the light on, Faraday.
Nice patch, Blackie.
You've heard enough. I wonder what there was about that guy's chin that attracted my fist. Well, Mary, it's a wonderful afternoon. Where would you like to go?
Where would you like to take me?
To a ball game.
Who's being murdered? Who's playing today?
The Dodgers.
Oh, let's go. But, I wish you'd tell me first what poor Mike Allen might have called you about the day he was killed.
Well, I'd asked him for an autographed baseball for your nephew, Mary.
Oh, no.
He probably just wanted to tell me that he had it. You know, it's a curious thing, Mary. French had never been to a baseball game until the day he went and killed Allen and the scoreboard boy.
What's curious about that?
That the first time he sees the national pastime, it's his last time.
78 years ago, April 16th, 1946, Boston Blackie here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. In a moment, we'll step back 89 years to an episode of Calling All Cars.
In times of economic uncertainty and chaos, your money means nothing. You may not even be able to get it from your bank or ATM. And the money you do have in the stock market will go down and down. What you can bank on is gold and silver. Gold and silver have been a reliable and trusted form of currency for thousands of years. Gold and silver have never been worth zero, and typically gold holds its value during economic turmoil. Call the Gold Hotline now and learn how to protect your money and your assets with gold and silver. And learn how to set up a new IRA or roll over your current one into a gold-backed IRA. Protect your money from the next market crash with gold and silver. Call now for your free gold guide.
800-515-6302. 800-515-6302. 800-515-6302. That's 800-515-6302.
Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, an episode of the West Coast program Calling All Cars, sponsored by the Rio Grande Gas Company. And, of course, they were a West Coast program, a West Coast company, so why would they sponsor nationally, right? This episode from 89 years ago, April 16, 1935, entitled The Midnight Phantom.
Calling All Cars, a copyright program created by the Rio Grande Oil Company.
Los Angeles Police calling all cars, attention all cars, broadcast 73. A burglar operating on Hollywood Boulevard between Ivar and Cahuenga. That's all. Rosenquist.
Now, Mr. Lindsley, we've all heard you say that more police cars in California and Arizona use Rio Grande cracked than any other brand of gasoline. But we'd like to know why. What makes Rio Grande different from any other gasoline?
Rio Grande is the only gasoline in this market made by the costly Sinclair cracking process.
Well, so what does that mean?
Well, petroleum engineers agree that cracking creates the finest gasoline made. And Rio Grande has the finest and most modern cracking plant in America. Built by engineers of the worldwide Sinclair organization, who spent millions of dollars and years of research to perfect this cracking process.
Well, doesn't that make the gasoline cost more?
Yes, it costs Rio Grande more to make gasoline by this superior process, but it costs the public no more. For the same price as ordinary gasoline, you get extra power and speed. And because cracking makes it possible to get more power and energy out of every drop, the motorist actually gets more for his money out of every gallon.
You mean that you actually get more mileage from Rio Grande cracked gasoline?
You will find the proof of that in the records of the many police departments who use Rio Grande cracked gasoline exclusively to power all emergency cars. Police and city purchasing departments keep accurate records on every car. They continually test to find which gasoline is most economical. Do you suppose the city of Los Angeles, for example, would be using Rio Grande cracked gasoline for the third consecutive year unless the records clearly showed that it was the most efficient and economical gasoline they could buy?
Well, do you make a special gasoline for police cars, or is it the same, that Rio Grande cracked gasoline that your dealers sell?
Rio Grande supplies cracked gasoline for the emergency equipment of Oakland, Berkeley, Fresno, Merced, Los Angeles, and Maricopa County, Arizona, and many, many others. And it's exactly the same gasoline that is supplied to independent dealers. Any motorist can stop at a Rio Grande service station, filled up with the same Rio Grande cracked gasoline that police and fire engines use, and feel the thrill of police car performance in his own car. It is now our pleasure to present Chief James E. Davis of the Los Angeles Police Department. Chief Davis.
Good evening, friends. In times of economic stress, such as that from which the nation is slowly emerging, the job of policing becomes much greater and presents types whose control is a unique problem. There is, for instance, a vast floating population, migratory indigents traveling from city to city looking for work. These people are not hobos. They are not tramps. They are individuals who, under better conditions, would be hard at work at some gainful occupation. They must, however, be watched, for the pinch of adversity will often tempt a man to break the law. Hard times cause unrest among the people, and this condition must be watched, lest it flare into dangerous demonstrations, which may threaten the peace and security of the vast majority. And the Depression has created many freak criminals. One of these is the subject of our story tonight. Under normal economic conditions, this man probably would not have broken the law. But forced to the wall by circumstances, he reasoned unclearly that the world owed him a living. He set out to collect, and he made his collections in such a manner as to, frankly, baffle the police for many months. His case will go down in our records as that of a Depression lawbreaker. Listen to his story, but I advise you, do not go and do likewise.
It is an early morning in November 1931. A.B. Humphreys, manager of the Owl Drug Store at Hollywood and Cahuenga Boulevard, is standing before the safe in the basement. Slowly he turns the dial. One by one the tumblers click. The big door swings open.
What's this? George! George! Where is that janitor? George!
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, come down here.
Coming, sir. Well, what do y'all want, sir?
What time did you come in to mop up this morning?
5 o'clock, I expect it was. Maybe a mite later.
Were the doors all locked?
Oh, yes, sir. Locked tight.
You've been all over the store?
Yes, sir.
Haven't noticed anything unusual?
No, sir, I haven't.
Oh, that's strange. Very strange.
What's the matter with you, Mr. Humphreys? You all as pale as a ghost.
George, there was more than $1,000 in that safe last night, and now look.
Why, there ain't nothing in there.
That's just it. We've been robbed.
Maybe not, Mr. Humphreys. Maybe Mr. Buell put the money someplace else last night when he closed up.
Maybe, but I doubt it. Anyway, I'll call him up and find out.
Hello.
Sorry to bother you so early in the morning, Jim.
Oh, hello, A.B. What's on your mind?
What'd you do with the cash last night?
Put it in the safe, of course.
Well, it isn't there now.
What?
Are you sure you locked the safe?
Oh, Positive.
Well, you'd better get in some clothes and get down here. I'm going to report this thing to the main office, and they'll probably send a man out who'll want to question us.
Oh, okay. I'll be right down.
The Owl Drug Company assigns their special investigator, Bill Smith, a former Army intelligence officer. And he loses no time in questioning Mr. Humphreys and his assistant.
Mr. Humphreys, who besides yourself knew the combination of that safe?
Mr. Buell and the district supervisor.
I see. All you know about this is that you discovered the safe locked and the money gone when you opened up this morning.
That's right.
Mr. Buell.
Yes?
Would you mind telling me the circumstances of last night?
Well, there weren't any circumstances. I don't know what you mean.
You closed the store?
Yes.
And you deposited the money in the safe?
Yes, I did the same as I always do. Closed up at 11 o'clock, emptied the cash registers, counted the money back in the prescription department, and filled out a statement in triplicate.
See? When was the district supervisor last here?
About 3 weeks ago. Oh, but you don't think
I'm not thinking anything yet. How about that janitor, George?
He's on duty from 5 until noon. He has no way of knowing the combination of the safe. And he's absolutely trustworthy. Why, he's been with the company for 10 years.
I see. Well, I guess that's all the information I need from you, gentlemen. Just carry on business as usual and don't mind me. I'm going to snoop around and see what I can turn up.
In addition to Special Investigator Smith, Los Angeles detectives are assigned to the case. Detective Lieutenants Leon D. Egan and C.W. Gaines meet with Smith to compare notes.
Well, Bill, from what you've told me, I can come to only one conclusion.
What's that, Egan?
The safe was open, not blown. After the money was taken, it was closed and locked. The burglar alarm system wasn't set off. The store wasn't broken into. It was an inside job.
Well, that might be the answer. Certainly it's the obvious conclusion to arrive at, but somehow I can't agree with it.
Well, why not?
Because I know something more about the employees involved than you do. Only 3 men had the combination of that safe, and all 3 are absolutely reliable. Been with the company for years.
Did you ever hear of the faithful bank clerk who embezzled funds on the anniversary of his 40th year with the bank?
Oh, yes, I know. But I'm backing my belief on the integrity of these men with something more. I've questioned them all. I've let them feel that they're under suspicion. Their reaction showed me that they were not suffering from guilty consciences.
Aha. A psychological sleuth, huh?
Maybe.
Well, what's the next step? We're ready to assist.
I don't know. They're still looking the place over. I've had fingerprints taken on the safe, but they haven't given us a clue. I'm going to hang around and see if I can pick up anything more. I'll let you know if I need you.
Okay, Bill. Anytime.
But a couple of days later, it is Egan who contacts Smith with the startling news that the Anita dress shop next door to the drugstore had been robbed. Together, they interview the excited proprietor.
I just can't understand it, gentlemen. I put the cash in the back room, same as usual, locked the safe, and fastened the back door. Then I locked the front door and set the burglar alarm. And this morning, when I opened up, the money's gone.
Who else has the key to the place beside you?
Well, I'm the only one. I opened the store and I closed it myself.
And add this, Bill. A regular night watchman and a harness bull within a block of the place all night, and no one heard the burglar alarm go off.
It didn't go off. The burglar alarm company has no record of this alarm being turned in.
Does that alarm connect at all the doors and windows?
Yes.
How much did they get?
Almost $100.
Oh, Egan, let's have a look around the back here.
Well, what do you say now, Bill? Same sort of a job as your owl robbery.
Yes, it is.
And it's an inside job.
Inside job? How could it be? Why would this man rob himself?
Well, I can't answer that one. That's the only way it could happen.
Maybe, but I don't think so.
Well, you give me the answer then.
I can't. I'm still looking for it.
And a few days later, at a nearby shop in the same block...
Yes, sir. What can I do for you?
I'm looking for one of these new noiseless typewriters.
Yes, sir. Right this way. You've come to the right place, all right. We carry everything in typewriters from the old-fashioned 3-bank portable to the latest noiseless. Now, this model here... Well, that's funny.
What's the matter?
Why, last night there was a noiseless on this table. A brand-new demonstration model, and this morning it's not... Just a minute, I'll ask the manager. Oh, Mr. Evans?
Yes, Marjorie?
What's happened to the noiseless demonstrator? Have you sold it?
Why, no. It was there on the table last night.
Well, it's not here this morning. Look for yourself.
Well, we've been robbed.
Oh.
Look, you'd better call the police right away, Marjorie.
Yes, sir.
Now, mister, can't I interest you in something in the rebuilt line? Now, here's a very excellent machine here.
While Smith and Egan go through the same fruitless round of questions at the typewriter store, A new factor enters the mystery when a gentleman visits the captain of detectives at the Hollywood station.
How do you do, Captain? I'm Howard Strong. My company installs and services burglar alarms.
Oh, yes, Mr. Strong. Sit down. I'm glad to make your acquaintance.
Thank you.
Now, what can I do for you?
We have our alarm systems in the All Drug Store at Hollywood and Coenga. They need a dress shop in the Hollywood Typewriter Store.
I see. The three places that have been burglarized recently.
Precisely. And we want to know just what you've done about these burglaries.
Well, we're doing everything we can, Mr. Strong. We've questioned the victims and found their answers about the same. They can't help us, and there are no fingerprints or clues.
Now, none of our alarms in these places of business have functioned at the time of the burglaries.
Well, have your alarms been tampered with?
No. I've gone over them personally, and they're all in perfect condition.
Well, it's all very mysterious.
There's only one conclusion I can come to.
And what's that?
That these have been inside jobs.
Mr. Strong, it isn't reasonable to assume that they're inside jobs.
And why not?
Well, either my men or myself have questioned all the possible suspects, including everyone who has a key to the stores or access to the safes, as the case may be. And we're convinced that they are innocent. One burglary might be suspected of being an inside job, but not three in a row within a few doors of each other.
Well, what is your theory?
Well, of course, there might be something wrong with your alarm system.
That, Captain, is an impossibility.
Yet you're inferring that there's something wrong with our police system.
No, it's not that, Captain, but... Well, I'm interested in getting at the bottom of this.
Yes, of course. And after all, men may break down, but of course machines never do. They're infallible.
No, there's no need to take that attitude, Captain.
Well, I'll tell you what I'll do, Mr. Strong. I'll triple the number of patrolmen on the Hollywood Boulevard beat, and I'll throw another radio car into the district. If these jobs aren't being pulled by ghosts, we'll get the boys that are pulling them.
So the double guard goes on the boulevard. The extra radio car patrols Hollywood. And for a couple of weeks, nothing happens. Then one morning in a hosiery shop between Cosmo Street and Coenga on Hollywood Boulevard.
Mr. Greenbaum, I'll need some change before we open up.
I'll get some out of the safe for you, Sally.
Gee, Millie, you'd think that old buzzard'd leave a little change in the register at night instead of locking it all up in the safe. Who the devil'd break into this stuff? You'd think he was peddling diamonds instead of silk stockings.
Sally! Call the police, quick! We've been robbed!
And a few days later, a few doors down the street.
Yes, sir. What can I do for you?
Why, I'd like a pair of those Clark Gable Oxfords with the high Cuban heels.
Yes, sir. What size?
Oh, I'll try to squeeze into 9.
Yes, sir. Won't you be seated?
Thanks.
What the devil is this? Hey, Mr. Robbins. Mr. Robbins, there's 4 pairs of Clark Gables missing.
Robbery detail, Stephen speaking.
Hello, Steve. This is Eddie out at Hollywood.
Yeah?
Description of stolen property for tomorrow's police bulletin.
Shoot.
1 set Walter Hagen golf clubs, 4 dozen tennis balls, 3 Spalding rackets.
Hey, what kind of a burglar is that?
Search me, but I'm getting tired of hearing about him. It's our old friend at Hollywood and Coenga.
What's the matter with you guys out there? Can't you catch that guy?
Now, Stephen, don't you start too. That's all we hear from morning to night. From the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences down to the Chamber of Commerce. If you think this bird's so easy to catch, come on out and catch him yourself.
No, thanks.
You're smart to say that. I'm spending my nights from now on staked out in the smarter Hollywood Boulevard shops. Of all the jobs I ever had, this one takes the cake.
Oh, it isn't so bad.
Isn't so bad. Sitting here night after night in a perfume shop waiting for a guy to knock it over?
Well, we've tried everything else. Now we simply have to sit down and wait for him.
Yeah, but sitting here for a week and nothing happens. Except that when I get home in the morning stinking of toujours l'amour and all this other junk, my old lady just won't believe what I've been doing.
And I'll square the beef with her after we've caught the guy.
I should live so long.
Oh, there's the boys in the radio car just pulled up. Let's go out and get a breath of fresh air.
Okay, but if one of them mugs makes a crack about me smelling like a certain flower, I'm going to let him have it.
Oh, forget it. I asked them to bring us some sandwiches and coffee. Come on.
How about the burglar we got a date with?
Well, a couple of the boys are out in the alley. Anyway, we'll only be gone a minute. Come on.
bad, not bad.
There. Doesn't that hot java make the world look different to you?
Yeah, but it don't smell no different. It smells worse.
Oh, there is a stronger odor of perfume. Throw your flash over here, Eddie.
There's a bottle spilled.
Yeah, and the cash drawer's been emptied. Right under our noses. What a couple of saps we are. Throw on the lights, Eddie. Now get your gat out and look for him in this room. I'll go through the back room.
But the two officers find nothing, and the guards on the outside have seen no one enter or leave the building. The nocturnal depredations of the strange burglar take on an eerie aspect. The nerves of the overworked police are stretched to the breaking point. They begin actually to believe that they are trying to outwit a supernatural being who can melt through thick stone walls. Weeks pass, and still the robberies go on. And then one night the Owl Drug Store is visited again. Mr. Humphreys sends for Egan and Smith.
Well, Mr. Humphreys, what is it this time?
We had a visit from our mystery man again last night.
How much did he get this time?
He didn't touch the safe.
What? Any narcotics missing?
No.
Is there anything missing?
Yes, and I'll be darned if I can understand it. He took 15 gallons of hydrochloric acid and 15 gallons of nitric acid.
What?
Yes. 30 gallons of corrosive acid.
Oh, that doesn't make sense. This guy must be a human trade rat. What the devil can he want with all that acid?
Search me.
It sounds dangerous.
What do you mean?
I don't know for sure, but nitric and hydrochloric acid are dangerous things to monkey with. He may have homicidal intent.
Yeah, but you can't kill a person with acid.
No. I'd hate to take a bath in it or have a glassful thrown in my face.
And while the police are pondering the significance of the latest theft of the Midnight Phantom, he suddenly strikes again, 4 blocks west on Hollywood Boulevard, filching from a 5 and 10 cent store, a clothing store, a furniture store. The situation becomes increasingly more desperate for the merchants along Hollywood Boulevard. Insurance rates go up. A feeling of uneasiness pervades the shopping district. And for all of the intensive efforts of the police, the burglaries continue unchecked as the weeks stretch into months. Then one morning, Bill Smith is summoned into the office of a high official of the Owl Drug Company.
Good morning, Bill. Good morning, sir. I suppose you want to know what I'm doing about the Hollywood robberies. Well, I'm keeping my eyes on the Owl store at Hollywood and Las Palmas. This guy seems to be working in that section now.
Wait a minute, Bill. Not so fast. I didn't call you in for that.
Oh, I thought naturally.
Well, unfortunately, I've got some more grief for you.
If you want me taken off the job, I can't blame you. All I can say is I've done all I can.
Hold on, Bill. Hold on. You seem to be jumping at conclusions this morning.
No wonder I jump at anything. I'm so balled up over these robberies.
Well, Bill, there's been another one.
Another one? Where? When?
At the Hollywood Coanga store last night.
More hydrochloric acid?
No, Bill. $500 this time.
$500, huh? I'm licked.
No, you're not. Not as far as I'm concerned, at any rate.
Frankly, I don't know what to do next.
I don't believe it. That fertile brain of yours will figure out the next step. This case is still yours if you want it.
Well, if you still believe in me, sir, I think I know something that might work. It's the last chance, but I think I'll go out and talk to Egan about it. See, Egan, no matter where else this guy strikes, he seems to come back to that old drugstore at Hollywood and Coanga.
Yeah, it looks that way. Even if he only wants to steal a postage stamp, he'd steal it there.
Right. So I'm going to camp right down there in the basement at the Owl, right by the safe.
You mean you're going to stake it out yourself?
Right.
Yeah, but you might sit there for 6 months and never see a thing.
Sure, but it'll be worth it to get this guy. I'll sit there the rest of my life if I have to. But you'll help me.
Sure, I'll do anything I can.
Fine.
What'll it be?
I want you to patrol the outside. Have men on Coanga and on Hollywood near the store. Also men in the alley.
Okay. But, Bill, we can't tie up a lot of men indefinitely.
Play along with me for a month or so, and I'll bet on that time we'll get our man.
Okay.
I'll sit down there in the dark. The first person to come into that cellar will get a load of buckshot from me. I don't care who he is. If you hear a shot, that'll be your cue to keep your eyes open. Buckshot will only wound him. He may try to make a break for the outside.
Okay, Bill. When do we start?
Tonight, of course.
And so Bill Smith takes up his lonely vigil in the basement of the drugstore. Night after night he sits in the gloomy, cold room, unable to move about. unable to smoke or read, not daring even to munch a sandwich lest his unknown and mysterious quarry should hear him and be frightened away. The only light Bill sees in his self-imposed prison is the weak blue glare from the corner street lamp which filters through the sidewalk grating. The only sounds he hears are the occasional muffled footsteps of a belated merrymaker hurrying home to bed. Thus does Bill Smith pass 8 hours a night for a week, for 2 weeks, for 3 weeks. 8 cold, bone-stiffening, torturous hours of black boredom. Each morning sees him climb from the cellar exhausted from the tension under which he has sat and waited. Each evening sees him descend to his cave more wan, more fatigued, less convinced that he will ever get his man. And then one night, after nearly a month of fruitless vigil, he hears a scratching sound which seems to come from the east wall of the basement, a sound such as a rat might make. He listens intently, half rises to his feet, grasps his shotgun. 5, 10, 15 seconds, a half-minute ticks by, and then a more definite sound, a metallic grating, and in the faint light, the screen of a ventilator is shoved out of place and lifted downward by a human hand. Without a second's hesitation, Smith swings his shotgun to his shoulder and... Before he can take another shot, the hand is hastily withdrawn. Smith switches on the light, hastens to pile up boxes to the ventilator, tries to climb through. Outside, the officers patrolling the neighborhood have heard the signal shot. On the qui-vive, Lieutenant Gaines, in the alley behind the Anita Dress shop, has drawn his gun, stands tense, ready for action, when a shadowy figure, seeming to materialize from the black mass of the darkened building, scuttles across the alley.
Hold it, I'll shoot. Okay, boys, let him have it.
You badly hurt?
I don't know.
All right, shake him down, boys.
You don't have to bother about that. I don't need no cat in my business.
Better call for the ambulance, Eddie, and let Bill Smith know we got his man.
The Midnight Phantom, wounded slightly in the hip, is taken to the General Hospital, receives medical attention, and then faces the officers of the law.
Well, my friend, I've been looking at you for a good many months. Well, we've got you. We want to find out what it's all about. You willing to talk?
Yes, I guess so. I've had you guys on the run for a long time. Yeah, you can have the answers now. Go ahead, shoot.
Well, let's start at the beginning. What's your name?
Herbert C. Wright.
What's it all about, Wright?
And the way I figured out things was this. Times are tough. So I figured out how I could ride out the depression and not have to bother about where my next meal's coming from.
By stealing, huh?
You could call it that.
What we want to know is how you did it. Been watching for you on the boulevard and the backs of the stores for months.
Yeah, I'm coming to that. There's too much chance to regular burglaries. I planned mine carefully. I figured I could get away with a perfect crime.
Nobody has yet?
Yeah, I'm finding that out. But I nearly got away with it. That's because I took plenty of time. I looked over downtown Los Angeles and Hollywood both before I went to work on the corner of Hollywood and Cahuenga.
Well, why did you pick that spot?
Because, with the exception of the Owl Building, the rest of the stores were built without cellars, with a 2 or 3 foot airspace between the ground and the floors of the building.
You mean to tell me you dug your way into those stores?
Oh, sure. I burrowed under the stores and cut my way through the floors. Made myself trapdoors that wouldn't be detected. Then I got into the Owl basement by prying loose the ventilator bolts. After I'd pulled the Owl job and the Anita Dress shop and the typewriter job, I started to work east. I found somebody else had got the same idea once before. But because there was a tunnel already made, so I used that. And I got under Cosmo Street and almost to the Broadway.
Were you planning on burglarizing the Broadway?
Sure. They do plenty of business there.
Here's something I'd like to know. Where the devil did you steal those jars of acid from the Owl?
Oh, that. I was going to tell you about them. It's lucky none of you guys found my tunnel and tried to follow it.
Why?
I had jars of acid placed along the tunnel with cords arranged to trip them. Anybody who didn't know where they was, hell, the acid could have spilled all over them. And then the best trap of them all was a big plank over the entrance to my living quarters. It was studded with spikes and weighted with 50 bricks. I bet it would have killed a man if it had fallen on him.
You're a nice, pleasant sort of guy, aren't you?
Well, I had to live, didn't I? I got as much right to live as the rest of them. I was only protecting my interests. The same way as a businessman protects his with burglar alarms. Or a manufacturer with armed guards when there's a strike.
Let's pass over that delicate ethical point. There's something I want to ask you.
What's that?
You mentioned living quarters. What did you mean by that?
Oh. I burrowed out a room under one of the shops in the middle of the block. I had blankets in there. And the typewriter I stole. I was writing a novel. It was quite comfortable. If it looked too dangerous for me to go outside, I could stay in there for several days.
That's your idea of living, huh?
Sure, why not? It's as good to life as any you can get these days. I know. I tried.
What do you mean, you tried?
Well, during the days, I'd go out and try to get work. But if I couldn't find any, I wanted to go straight. No, that's... Not that what I did was crooked, you understand?
Oh, sure, we understand.
Yeah, but I couldn't find a job. So, this was easier.
Why did you take 20 cents out of that shoe store and leave $2,000 behind?
Well, I didn't have any particular use for the money at the time, and I didn't want to run the risk of depositing too much in the bank at one time. I figured there'd be more whenever I wanted it.
And how about the combinations to the safes? How did you get them?
Well, you see, I bored peepholes in the wall or in the floor of every store I worked. And then I'd watch through the peepholes and learn the combinations that way. Sometimes it took several days. But it was worth it. Of course, you nearly had me that night in the perfume store. I was watching through the peephole when you came back and found the place robbed. I could hardly keep from laughing out loud.
Yeah, I can imagine that must have been very funny.
Now, you've asked me a lot of questions. I want to ask you one.
Well, that's fair enough. What is it?
Why the devil didn't you bump me off tonight? I'd be a lot better off, and so would the world. Why anyone wants to spend another minute on this lousy earth is more than I can understand.
But regardless of his opinion, Harold Wright will have to spend several more years on this earth. For just a few months ago, he was brought to trial, found guilty to 3 counts of burglary, and sentenced to San Quentin Penitentiary for the term prescribed by law, a further proof that crime doesn't pay.
Thank you, Chief Davis. Many listeners tonight will want to know more about the case of the human mole, and we refer them to the April issue of the Calling All Cars News, which contains the full story of this amazing Hollywood burglar with pictures of his hideaways. Any Rio Grande service station will gladly give you a free copy of this unique publication, which contains true detective stories, movie and radio news. Just drive into any Rio Grande station and ask for the news. There's no obligation to buy any Rio Grande cracked gasoline, but if you're interested in getting more value for your money, we ask you to try a tankful and see what a vast difference this famous cracking process makes. It costs no more to enjoy police car performance in your car. This is your narrator, Frederick Lindsley, bidding you good night for the Rio Grande Oil Company.
The Depression was a tough time, and people even turned to crime to try to make things happen. This guy did not make it happen for long. April 16, 1935, 89 years ago, Calling All Cars here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Coming up tomorrow, Westerns and a war story. With Frontier Town, Gunsmoke, Have Gun Will Travel, an episode of Suspense, and then The Strange Dr. Weird. That's all coming up on our Wednesday edition of Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. But right now, Bob Bailey, Virginia Gregg, let George do it.
Are you suffering with anxiety, depression, PTSD, an eating disorder, or even a substance abuse problem? If it's causing problems at work or with your family, get help now. At Insight Mental Health and Wellness, we help and treat all types of depression and mental issues. We will help you use your insurance to get away from it all, to a beautiful, sunny, and tranquil vacation-like environment, so you can recharge yourself. And with the Family Medical Leave Act, you could take the time off you need from work. Plus, with the Affordable Care Act, your treatment could be 100% covered. If you're suffering from any kind of anxiety, depression, PTSD, eating disorder, or even a substance abuse problem, use your insurance and get away from it all. Come to sunny California. Call Insight Mental Health and Wellness now.
800-281-8944. 800-281-8944. 800-281-8944. That's 800-281-8944.
Our Tuesday edition of Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, full of crime, continues now with an episode of Let George Do It, starring Bob Bailey and Virginia Gregg, an episode entitled The Noose Hangs High. This goes back 73 years, April 16th, 1951.
Personal notice. Danger's my stock and trade. If the job's too tough for you to handle, you got a job for me, George Valentine. Write full details.
Greetings as always, mystery lover. Time for another Let George Do It adventure. You know, I'm particularly fascinated with the title of this epic. It's called The Noose Hangs High. Now, that's a switch if I ever heard one. And better still, it gives one an insight as to what is about to take place. You see, George Valentine is always sticking his neck out. Now, for the first time, he has a place to stick it. Let's see if he makes it.
Dear Mr. Valentine, I'm J.H. McHugh. I'm editor of the local Sunday magazine section, and come to think of it, I've always wanted to run a feature on you, that crazy admiral, but I figured the true revelations of a Turkish secret policeman had more family appeal, and so I forgot about it. Anyhow, this letter concerns a different matter. Valentine, I'm going to make a reporter of you. You're going to be the author of a serial on the Tover emeralds. What became of the exotic princess wedding stones? Did the eminent ornithologist Ansel Fairweather find them, or didn't he? What was the mysterious curse that brought death to Fairweather 10 years ago? Read it. The riddle of the two recluses. Why have the two Binks brothers refused
to cross the threshold of their own gloomy mansion, and for that very same 10 years? What is the mystery of number 37 Ashton Street?
Well, isn't it the greatest story you ever heard?
Well, Mr. McHugh...
I notice you came trotting over here fast enough. I tell you, it's the best feature we've had for years.
Since the last mummy sued King Tut for alienation of affections.
What?
Well, I always preferred the classic case history of the two-headed werewolf.
Now, see here, both of you.
Oh, come on now, McHugh. You've been mashing your own corn too long. I gather all the purple double talk has something to do with a man named Ansel Fairweather. Well, I looked him up. He tied a rope around a chandelier and hung himself at 37 Ashton Street 10 years ago.
10 years ago today, in a gloomy brownstone.
Control your local color. He'd been to the Himalayas looking for rare birds once. He was probably one himself. But any talk about emeralds is strictly for the birds, too. Ones like you.
Well, I may have overstressed that aspect a bit.
Just a bit.
All right. Forget them. Look at the facts. It took a jury to decide his death was suicide, didn't it?
Well, it was a very unfair trial of his two cronies, yes.
The Binks brothers. And they still live in that same house. Never stepped out of it since.
Oh, we didn't know that.
I thought not. That's the story. The rest is all trimmings, I'll admit. Big Jared Binks and little Tom Binks have holed themselves up for 10 years in the place where Fairweather committed suicide. Why?
It only took 2 minutes for the jury to exonerate them of his murder, if that's what you're driving at. Fairweather was sick, despondent, out of his mind.
No. I'm not trying to say they killed him.
And to be unfairly accused of his murder might make anyone withdraw from the world a little.
You think I'm trying to make something out of nothing? Cook up a story that's a little too wild?
We think you're an expert at it. No offense, of course.
Not at all. And, of course, you understand, Mr. Valentine, I would no more seriously think of hiring you even to write your own name than I would jump off the Golden Gate Bridge.
Well, now, that's better. Well, now that we got that off our chest, what do you really want me for?
Facts. For 9 years, I've tried to get a little anniversary story on Jared and Tom Binks. Why they're such recluses.
Are they? Really?
Every reporter I ever sent, and don't worry, they've been clever about it, too, has been thrown out on his ear. To my knowledge, the brothers have never been outside that house. And no visitor has ever been inside it. Why? You get the facts. I'll write the story. You get paid.
You are listening to Let George Do It. Our adventure will continue in just a moment. Now back to Let George Do It and George Valentine.
I hate to leave before I see you thrown out.
Brooksy, you're a sadist. Look, you go and check on Fairweather's death, would you? Uh-oh. Here's the little one. Oh, and how do you do, sir? My name is Valentine. How do you do? I represent the City Fire Protection League, Department of Fire Inspection Service, in the interest of fire prevention. I'm sure you won't mind my taking a few minutes of your time for an examination of the premises before I... What's the matter, friend? You're not listening. Well, perhaps they have a card here which will...
Is that girl with you?
What? Me? No, I was just asking directions.
You're not busy, young man?
Huh?
You're free for the next few hours, perhaps?
Well,
thank heaven. Come in, come in. Please, do come in. I'm so glad to see you. Yes, come right in. Oh, Jared, where are you? We have a visitor. Isn't that wonderful?
What in the
name? Come right in. George, are you sure it's the right
Somebody's
house?
throwing curves. Now work fast, will you, Angel? I'll see you later.
Yeah, good luck.
Yes, hurry, Jared. This way, sir. Valentine, you say?
Yes, that's right. You're, Tom Binks?
Oh, yes, quite. Tom Binks.
Uh-huh. Some house you have here. Don't you ever open the shutters?
Oh, yes. Forgive the lack of furniture. We've never bothered about the hallways. And the parlor in there makes such a handy place to store things, don't you think? We're very informal here.
Oh, brother, there's an understatement. Pile of magazines, clothes, boxed up books.
Oh, look out. Oh, this way, please. Here.
What's the matter? Afraid of a loose chain on the chandelier?
What? Oh, no. No, not at all.
Oh, yeah, sure. The chandelier. That's what Fairweather hung himself from, isn't it?
I thought you said you were from the fire department.
Of course, it's where he hung himself. What of it?
Well, Mr. Merton.
What are you doing here, young man?
Well, I invited him in. There's no reason.
You might answer the same question, friend. I thought these guys lived alone.
The name is Merton. Binks boys aren't crazy. I am. I handle their business affairs.
Mr. Merton is just on his way out.
Yes, see what I mean? I've been trying to leave for the past 3 hours. Now Tom kicks me out.
Oh, no. But I think all of our
That's because you walked in. I make one visit a year to this place. I spend the rest of the year calming down.
I don't follow you, but I guess that's all right.
Yeah, of course you don't. Who could? You don't know it, but you've been tapped to take my place holding hands.
What?
Now, Mr. Valentine is interested in our work, and I was just going to show him through the house.
It's all yours, son. You scare the boogeyman for a while.
The boogeyman?
Yeah, sure. Make a good story for you. Now, come on, tell the truth. What newspaper are you from?
Newspaper?
None. But what's the story?
Oh, I don't really care who you are. Tom, where's my coat?
I hung it up. I'll get it for you.
Boogeyman. That's the story, you know. It's a haunted house.
Okay, Buster, I'm dumb. What's going on?
So am I. Valuable property, but kept in a mess. Good securities, but all gummed up. Couple of loony clients, that's all. Well, look around you. Nuts. Lived alone so long, they imagine that...
No.
Hey, what's the matter?
The light cord. Merton, look. Oh, Jared, come down
for
here.
the love of... What?
Hey, you see, another knot. It's tied in a knot like the others.
The light cord in the closet here. Tied in a hangman's knot.
A noose. He's found some others around like that.
Well, now, who's the practical joker that did
None
this?
of us. That's it. None of us ties those knots.
Well, what is it, Tom? What is it?
Look here.
I didn't do it.
Well, of course you didn't. No one did. Oh, Jared, this is Mr. Valentine. I asked him to...
I could hear you from upstairs. I could hear. I don't think it is good to ask people in.
There, you see, young fella, I haven't got a card to the club like I have.
You have finished your business, Mr. Merton. Get out.
Jared, now wait. I know what happens when people come in, but...
I'm not afraid of any nooses. There is nothing for anybody to be afraid of.
Please, Jared.
Perhaps you tie the nooses yourself, Tom.
What?
Perhaps you don't know that you do. But it's all right. There's nothing to be afraid of.
Oh, no, I don't.
It occurred to me when I saw the shadow on the stairway. From this same noose, I suppose.
What shadow?
Stairway? Oh, no. This door was shut.
Oh, brother, now, take it easy, Tom.
Oh, look. Yes. You can see it on the wall. It's a shadow of a noose this time.
Yeah, sure. From upstairs here. Only place it could have come from.
There is nobody else in the house, Mr. Valentine.
Hey, now you can't see the shadow anymore down there.
Oh, Jared, for the love of
Well, that does it. I'm getting out of here.
Where's your telephone?
There's one in the library, but we don't want any policemen. This is nothing to be upset about.
Who said anything about policemen?
Hey, they've got an extension. They'll listen while you call. Come on with me to the drugstore.
Let them listen. I'm like you are, Jared. I'm not nervous. I don't get a guilty feeling when I look at a noose. Not yet.
Operator.
Hello, operator. Get me.
Hello? Hello?
Mr. Valentine? Oh, Mr. Valentine. I wondered if you were on the telephone. Mr. Valentine. Mr. Valentine.
Shut up, will you? Shut up. All right, I'm coming. Yeah?
Hello, is Miss... George, is that you?
Brooksy,
What's the matter? You sound so funny.
everything's funny. I was just going to call you when the world caved in.
What?
I was going to tell... Hey, Tom Binks. Looks like he fainted or something.
George, for heaven's sake.
Yeah, he's crazy. They're all crazy. The whole place is crazy, Brooksy. So am I. Now, listen, Angel. I was going to tell you the malarkey out here was too thick to be true, but I guess I'm wrong. I guess I was saved by the bell when you called.
Will you please tell
On
me...
account of everybody sees nooses out here. Well, now I do, too.
What?
Yeah, Angel. There's one made out of rope neatly draped around my neck.
You are listening to Let George Do It. Our adventure will continue in just a moment.
And now, back to George Valentine. The two Binks brothers, Jared and Tom, two recluses whose friend hung himself 10 years ago. And now the Binks brothers are seeing the shadow of a noose. Light cords and sash cords have been tied with hangman's knots. Well, if your name is George Valentine, the whole thing looks a little wild to you. That is, until you yourself get knocked out and come to with a rope around your neck.
Angel, I don't know what hit me, I tell you.
But,
I
George,
got a funny sore neck, though.
If I hadn't telephoned, someone must have been trying to kill you.
Brooksy, skip it, will you? I'm all right. What did you find?
Well, all that silly stuff about emeralds may not have been so silly.
Huh? What?
Oh, Mr. Fairweather's death 10 years ago was suicide. But he was supposed to have picked up some stones in India, and the only ones they've ever found have been in Kansas. Just one or two.
Oh, you make a lot of sense.
How would some of the Tover emeralds get in Kansas if they're supposed to be lost somewhere in India? I mean, someone must have found them. And...
Yeah. Only the police don't know who.
That's right. And there's nothing illegal anyway. If they were found, somebody just sold them.
Angel, I love you.
What?
You're fitting the first piece into the jigsaw. Only this house out here is such a big barn of a place with so many rooms and so much junk that
That what?
that I'll call you back in 15 minutes. Hello. Who are you?
Cleaning lady at the booby hatch.
Lady with jokes, huh?
I worked in a real booby hatch once. Come in to bring the week's food for the Binks, that's all. I'm a long order cook now. Hermits got to eat, don't they? Only Say, what did you do to Tom there?
Nothing. He fainted. He's all right.
Yeah. Ain't he a funny one? Spends all of his time drawing birds. Looks kind of like a sparrow
Hey,
himself.
wait a minute. What are you doing? Put him down.
I know where I'm at. I was a nurse once.
Oh, I'm all right. No, please.
Every time I come to this place, something crazy happens. There's a man out back to see you, Mr. Binks.
What's that, Mabel?
That man who owns the house. That Fairweather.
Fairweather? Man who owns
Is
it?
any of your business, mister?
Duchess, go tell the man to wait.
What?
Yeah, you're losing your job as nurse. Get out.
I never trusted anyone, Mr. Valentine. I was tried for murder once, Jared and I, but we hadn't done anything. Do you know what it's like to be tried for...
Sure, Mr. Binks, but I'm only trying to help.
There's nothing secret about our work. All those crates of specimens downstairs, birds. That's what they are. We've collected them from all over the world, and I am drawing them, Jared and I.
For 10 years?
Oh, it will take much, much longer than that. We don't work very fast, and there are more than 7,000.
Yeah, sure, I get the idea. And Ansel Fairweather was your partner in that work. He was an ornithologist, I remember. So now explain who this other Fairweather is who's alive and waiting for you out back.
A cousin of Ansel's. He's been trying to get the house.
Mabel said he owned it.
Well, he has some old deed that Ansel gave him. He says it's quite valuable property. That's why we're moving.
Moving?
Well, didn't you know? That's why the birds are all crated. We're being thrown out of the house next week.
Oh. Huh. Why didn't you buy it? Why'd you let him get it? You guys have money, don't you? Or something worth money, maybe?
Now, see here, young man. You told me you were some sort of a fire inspector. I asked you into the house, and all you do is ask questions. Just like all the rest. Jared told me not to talk to people. He warned me. Every time anyone gets
Take
near
it
us...
easy, take it easy. Only suppose I go out and talk to the new landlord, huh? Hey, all this stuff on the back porch, do you suppose it's going too, Mr. Fairweather?
How should I know? A couple of blame crackpots. I'm having the house torn down as soon as they get out.
Yeah, sure. Go over it inch by inch, huh?
What's that, Mr. Valentine?
Never mind. You're a real estate man, huh?
Business deal? Business deal, that's all it is.
I know. I met that lawyer or whatever he is of theirs.
Huh? Oh, Merton,
Yeah.
sure. Just saw him down at the drugstore. And he's smart. He won't even eat their food.
He didn't offer to buy the place for them, though, huh?
Mac, a cousin of mine I never met, used to live with these birds here. That's ancient history. But a friend of mine discovered this old deed, and I found I could get the place. So why not? So I've got it.
Mm-hmm. Got a key, too, I suppose. Come in and out any time.
What?
30 rooms, 3 stairs, an army could be wandering around. Trash, bro.
What's eating you anyway? Just because I won't sell the house to Looney and Goony Binks? Well, sure, they offered to buy it. What of it? I'm in real estate. I got plans for the whole block.
Yeah, sure. Just stop justifying yourself. Flashlight.
Oh, go jump in the lake.
Hey, how long do you figure it'd take to tear this house apart? If a man wanted to find some emeralds.
Oh, that old story. You're just another loony yourself, huh? Well, I'm in business, friend, and I don't have...
So blame much junk, isn't there? Here. Ever see a flashlight rigged up like this?
What's that wire thing?
Found it in the trash barrel. When you put the button on, see, the wire's twisted around in a circle. Makes a nice shadow out there on the back wall.
Shadow of a noose.
Jared!
What in the name of...
Jared!
Tom, where are you? What's happened?
Chandelier. The noose. He's dead. He's dead!
Tom, come back here. Come back here. Tom! Oh, you crazy idiot. Who says he's dead, huh? Just as well be, I suppose. You hung yourself. Sure. Oh, brother. Not heavy or anything, are you, Gerald? Tom, hey, anybody! Okay, come on, Hermit. Let's get you out of here. You need help fast. Hey, you. You the pharmacist?
Yes, that's right. What do you have?
Get out to that car as fast as you can. There's a man been choked, hit over the head, too.
What?
Yeah.
Well, of course. Joe, you too. Come on.
Go on. I'll be with you in a minute. Well, hello.
Yeah? Well, sit down. Have a piece of pie.
No, thanks, Mr. Merton.
So, had enough prying around in the booby at you. Hermit's Hollow. Once a year's all I can stand.
Sure. Whose taxi is that out there?
Oh, waiting for me. I got a job back in real life, as they call it, to worry about.
See the house from here, but nothing happening yet.
What are you talking about? What's the matter?
Come on, let's wait in the taxi.
Hey, what are all those guys doing around that car across the street?
Police will be here in a minute.
What?
Come on, get in the cab.
Where to, Mac?
No place. Jared Binks may be dead or alive, I don't know. He was hanging from the chandelier.
Jared? Now look here,
Only person
son,
strong enough around there to lift him up for it is that woman, I guess, that Mabel.
Well, then get your eyes off of my muscles.
Oh, you weren't there.
I haven't got any muscles.
Unless Jared hung himself, but that's a fair chance. Besides, I've got a sore neck, too.
Now, look,
and that rope around me wasn't pulled tight. And I don't know what knocked me out. But if Mabel was telling the truth, if she had been a nurse and worked around an asylum, well, it's one way to quiet somebody in a hurry. Slap him in the back of the neck, heel of the hand.
Hey, what are you guys talking about?
Just keep turned around, driver.
I'd like to know what you're talking about, too.
Well, why wasn't the rope around me pulled tight? Why wasn't I killed? Go ahead, watch the house. I can see the alley entrance.
What for?
Oh, we're not waiting for Mabel to show up. That's a police job. By now, she must be blocks from here.
Yeah, so am I.
You know, Merton, it's pretty clear. I got the flashlight off her service porch. I don't know who else could have been upstairs to throw that shadow of the noose and then duck in a hurry. Well, stop looking so sad. Mabel's a hired hand, that's all, a female thug.
Oh, brilliant.
But what I'm not sure of is who she works for. Hey, look.
What?
There he is. There's Tom.
Well, how
Yeah, the
neat.
little man himself with a suitcase.
Oh, yes. Follow right along, driver.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess Jared had all the courage. It's a cinch Tom couldn't ever face the police again, so he's finally running.
Hey, what's that? No, the guy's walking up there.
Just keep your mind in the front seat, driver. Yeah, that's what the rope was put on me for, I guess. Same reason as the hangman's knots and the shadow of the noose. To scare the Binks boys. Only what happened with Jared? He catch on who was doing it? That why he was strung up to put the final fright into Tom and make him run?
Oh, stop driveling. Tom! Hey, Tom!
What? Who is it?
It's me, Merton. Over here, Tom.
If there were any emeralds in that house, nobody'd ever find them. The Binkses never talked about them. Must have been pretty hard on you, Merton, wondering how you could get your hands on them.
You're smart enough to know a gun when you see it, I hope. Huh?
Hey, what the...
You too. Shut up. Oh, hello, Tom. Hop in.
Well, I don't know.
It's all right, Tom. You can tell me some things. Like who this guy Merton really is.
I told you... Tom, get in here.
What?
Get in.
Of course. Oh, Merton, don't point that gun at me.
You see, Merton's been so careful to get himself an alibi. Taxi all ready and waiting.
Shut up, I told you.
And Merton told me he came to see you men once a year to handle your business affairs.
Well, I have. What of it?
Once a year in April? 1 month after income tax? Does that make any sense for a business manager?
All right, genius. You've said enough. Goodbye.
Merton.
Give me that suitcase. Come on, now, step on it.
No.
You get out from behind the wheel and turn around.
Hey, what the...
I'm leaving you right now.
Get your hands off that...
Give him the suitcase, Binks. It has the emeralds, right? Isn't that the point of the whole business, to scare you into running? And when you run, the one thing you take with you is the emeralds that a man could spend his life searching for in that house?
That a man could get one at a time, you mean, once a year. Yeah, that's who I am. I handle a business all right, one at a time, once a year.
Merton, please.
But never a glimpse of the rest of them. Well, now I've got the whole mess. Get out of my way.
You got a mess, all right, Buster.
But look out!
I'll kill him.
Not in April, sweetheart.
Mr. Valentine, yes. Yes, that's all true.
Give me the suitcase then, Tom. This guy's safe for the police. I want to find how your brother is.
But people will come and they'll bother me. There'll be policemen and photographers.
Well, there's nothing wrong with you having the rest of the emeralds.
But Jared and I only use the emeralds to carry on our work. Now, this suitcase, you open it.
What the?
Is there anything wrong, Mr. Valentine?
Well, no, not from your point of view, friend. But in a few minutes, I got a date with Miss Brooks and a guy named McHugh at my office. I'm going to find out how they can take a surprise.
Back to the conclusion of our Let George Do It adventure in just a moment.
Bird feathers.
You heard me, McHugh.
Skins of birds. That's what he carried in that suitcase.
Uh-huh. Yeah, if Tom could take one thing of value from the house, that was it. After all, what are emeralds compared to birds?
Jared Binks will be all right, George.
Good, Brooksy, that's fine.
And the police caught that woman, Mabel. She had been working for Merton.
Birds.
Yeah, you see, McHugh, Merton finally got an itchy palm and ganged up with Mabel to try and scare the boys into running. That's the only way they'd get excited enough to tip where they'd hidden them.
Bird feathers. They had over 100 emeralds. And how many did Merton sell for them through the years? 7.
Well, what's the matter? What are you sore about?
He wants to know where the rest of them are, George.
But Tom and Jared will never tell.
Mr. McHugh, we got your story for you. What if we didn't find the emerald? It's certainly a better story than the usual vampire Scotland Yard confessions of a werewolf that you usually print in that story.
Yes. But it's a little wild, don't you think? The noose hangs high.
Hmm?
See what I mean?
Who'll ever believe it?
You have just heard The Noose Hangs High, another Let George Do It adventure. Robert Bailey was starred as George Valentine, with Virginia Gregg as Brooksy. David Victor and Jackson Gillis wrote the story, with music by Eddie Dunstetter. Now, this is yours truly inviting you to another visit with Valentine, when you will again hear what happens when you let George do it.
"73 years ago, April 16th, 1951, Let George Do It, here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Visit our webpage, classicradio.stream, where you can stream our shows on demand, learn more about building a classic radio collection of your own. You can find our social media links there, and if you're so inclined to support this program, you can buy me a copy. Thanks to Robert for his support of the program. We always appreciate it. And to let you know what we did with that, we were able to get a little promotional package going so to support the program, to hopefully bring more listeners here, because more listeners, I mean, let's face it, don't we all want to spread the word of these great old radio shows still being around and still being available? I certainly do like that. And I appreciate those of you who can follow us on social media. You'll see our daily postings of the shows on Facebook and Twitter, and share those shows so we can let additional people know that the shows are available. Coming up next, we're going to go back to 1952 for an episode of I Was a Communist for the FBI.
Americans have always been noted for their know-how. And you young men in search of a career, you can put this practical talent to excellent use in one of our nation's many engineering schools. At the present time, we need engineers. We need them to maintain our scientific and engineering superiority. So look to your future, to America's future. Plan now to become an engineer.
Recently, a longtime listener to our show passed away who adored this show. He loved Dana Andrews. He loved I Was a Communist for the FBI. He was strictly anti-communist. And I would always point out to him, I said, Matt Cvetic was not the great person that he was made out to be on these shows. And he said, well, it's the concept. And so here we go with another episode of I Was a Communist for the FBI. This was the audition, the initial program, April 16th, 1952, 72 years ago, the story of the Little Red Schoolhouse.
I was a communist for the FBI.
Starring Dana Andrews in an exciting tale of danger and espionage. I was a communist for the FBI. The story you are about to hear is based on the actual records and authentic experiences of Matt Cvetic, an undercover agent of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, who for 9 fantastic years lived as a communist for the FBI. Here is our star, Dana Andrews, as Matt Cvetic, undercover agent.
You can read it in the official reports, the whole story of my life as a communist for the FBI. I was in the party. I saw it work. For 9 years, I recorded the communist conspiracy against the United States from within. This is part of the story.
In a moment, listen to Dana Andrews as Matt Cvetic, FBI undercover agent. Now, here is Dana Andrews as Matt Cvetic, FBI undercover agent. This story from the confidential file is marked Little Red Schoolhouse.
Hey! Watch where you're walking. What are you trying to do, chum? Live dangerously?
I'm sorry, mister.
Yeah, I'm nuts.
Excuse me, buddy, but have you got a match?
Sure. Here.
Thanks.
Keep 'em. It's a red 9 today.
Tomorrow's red 8. Well, Matt, been a long time since we worked together.
When did you get transferred from Detroit, Ed?
A month ago. Oh, here comes our car. Hop back with me. Okay, Quine, take off.
Let's make it fast. You know how the party checks on my time.
Well, I wish we could offer you more protection, Matt, but...
I know. I'm on my own.
The report?
A new Soviet agent has arrived from Lenin Institute in Russia. A few picked commies have been undergoing training in propaganda and infiltration. I'm one of them.
And this new Soviet agent?
Is going to meet with us for briefing and assignment to some important jobs.
Anything else?
Meeting place is to be changed. This new Soviet agent isn't taking any chances. I don't even know his name yet.
When do you meet him?
Tonight, 6. Better drop me off now. Any place along here.
Yeah, pull it up, Quine.
Any last instructions?
Yes, Matt, I want a full report by mail. Also, let me know by phone, if you can, the name of this new agent and the location of your meeting place.
I'll let you know as
Matt, get in quick.
Huh? Sure. What's up?
That man, walking away from the corner. He's watching us.
Who is he?
Vasily Konostoy, a suspected Soviet agent. He's new here. We had him in the office for a routine check.
You? Ed, that makes him the boy from Lenin Institute.
Yes, very possibly. He knows I'm FBI, so you'd better start praying he didn't get a good look at you with me. If he did and he recognizes you later...
Spare the details. I know what'll happen. I'm in the party, remember? Whether Ed Grayson remembered or not, I did. It was the price of my life. When 6 o'clock came, I was picked up and driven to a small, isolated red brick house. Inside were 5 people. 4 men and a girl. Introductions told me the girl's name was Stephanie, and seating arrangements put us together in a corner. Close up, her dark loveliness was almost like a blow.
Comrade Matt. Comrade Matthew.
No, I like Comrade Matt better. It's hard, tough, like you.
It's a tough world, Comrade Stephanie. No room for softness. We're nothing. The party and its beliefs are everything. Do you disagree with that?
Of course not, Comrade Matt. It's only that being near you makes me feel like a woman. Is that so terrible?
That's dangerous talk. I'd be more careful.
I'm always careful. We'll talk more later.
Comrades, I am Vasily Konistov. I bring you greetings from Comrade Stalin. He thanks you for your loyal work. But he also desires more work, more sacrifice, especially from you, picked comrades. You are to lead the way to revolution, the Soviet state of America.
While I listened, I carefully surveyed the room, the people, until I knew I would remember every detail. Vasily Kornistoy was a big man, 6'1", maybe 2, weighed around 200, black-haired with eyes that forgot to smile when he did. Those eyes stabbed me, and I knew Kornistoy's memory was at work. When the meeting was over, he kept me for a private talk.
Something to drink?
No, thanks.
My throat was dry. I have had the feeling all evening that we have met before, Comrade Svetic.
Not that I can recall.
Well, no matter. I'll remember sometime. I always do. You have a way home?
There's a cab stand only a mile from here. It's a nice walk.
Very well. Good night, Comrade.
Good night.
Comrade Matt, over here.
Oh, it's you, Comrade Stephanie.
Oh, this is my car. Would you ride into town with me?
Oh, thanks.
You drive.
Nice car. Nice girl. Nice night. Quite a combination.
I'm glad you like it.
Oh, I didn't say I liked it. I said it was quite a combination.
You are a heel, aren't you? But then I suppose I have been pretty obvious.
You have. Wow. That's some curve.
Now, with a drop-off of 100 feet, if you ever went over that embankment, it would be curtains. You should go slower.
So should you.
You needn't be rude, Matt. It says that you're the first man in a long time I've been attracted to.
Matt.
All right, Comrade Matt. I know it's heresy for a party member to have feelings. I was hoping you might understand.
Now, take it easy, Stephanie. You're tired. You're saying things that could get you into trouble.
Yeah, I guess I am tired. May I put my head on your shoulder?
Sure.
Thanks. Oh, it's a nice feeling. Your shoulder's strong.
What I said about the combination, I mean.
Car, the night, and me.
Oh, I like it.
Do you? Excuse me.
Why did you turn off the ignition?
Park for a moment.
Why?
This is why.
When I got to my hotel, dawn was breaking. Before I went to sleep, however, I made a call to a certain number and left a message for Ed Grayson to meet me that morning with the wiring crew. 5 hours sleep, then I was in a clump of woods near the Little Red Schoolhouse, listening to Ed give orders to a half-dozen men loaded with wiring equipment.
All right, men. Frederick's checked the house gas meter. No one's there now, but that doesn't mean they won't come back at any time. So do your work fast and do it good. Get moving.
The mics better be well hidden, Ed. Conestoy is sharp and suspicious.
Yeah, he'd have to tear down the walls to find these. Did he recognize you?
Yes, but he can't remember where yet.
How long is he going to be here?
I don't know. Long enough to give us a briefing and our assignments.
Yeah, we got a lot of tape recording. We won't miss a thing that happens.
Good. I'll walk down now and grab a taxi and return to the house in the open. That way I'll be there to warn your men. Conestoy or the others show up.
Yeah, smart idea.
When will the wiring job be finished?
Oh, 6, 5 if it goes fast.
That's running it pretty close. Meeting starts at 6:30.
Yeah, we'll do the best we can.
I returned later, and for the next 4.5 hours, I played watchdog on the front porch of the Red House. From inside, I could hear the sounds of Grayson's men at work. At 5:42, the FBI men reported their job finished. They were packing up their equipment to leave by the back door when around the curve I saw Conestoy's car approaching. Beat it, you guys. Flash red, flash red.
Well, Comrade Svetchik. What are you doing here so early?
Oh, I thought I'd like to talk to you, Comrade Conestoy.
Oh? Let's go inside.
Oh, wait.
What?
I mean, it's so nice out here. Why don't we just stay on the porch? I could talk here.
Gracie, we could be spotted out here, inside.
Oh, but Comrade...
You'd better keep it in mind that I give the orders.
Well, I guess being inside is not so bad, after all.
What's the matter with you? You look as if you expected to see something. What is it?
I merely wanted to be sure we were alone. I have a report to make about one of our comrades.
Oh, is that so? Which one?
Comrade Stephanie. She shows definite signs of bourgeois emotionalism.
Oh, I see. Then you had better watch her. Keep me informed.
I will.
You really are a fanatic, aren't you, Comrade Svetchik?
I believe and follow the party line.
Oh, don't mistake me. We need a few good fanatics. I wish I could remember where I have seen you before. Haunts me as if it's important that I should remember.
The next few days were a growing fever of tension for me. The briefing was hard and thorough. I had little time to do anything but study, and this was complicated by constant invitations to study with Comrade Stephanie. And always hanging over my head was the threat of Conestoy's possible remembrance of seeing me with an FBI man. Finally, the last day of the week rolled round.
Tonight, comrades, you receive your assignments. You have been well trained. Now you will act on that training.
We will organize infiltration of schools?
That is correct. You, Comrade Svetchik, receive a choice plum. Do you know Bryson University?
Yes, small college not far north of here.
Though small, Bryson is a highly respected school, an example to many other colleges. You and Comrade Stephanie will see that the seeds of communism are planted there.
We'll not fail, Comrade Conestoy.
I'm sure you won't. Comrade Svetchik, about where I have seen you. Perhaps you were around my hotel for some reason?
No.
No. Well, don't worry. Maybe by the time you finish your assignment, I will remember.
Back to Dana Andrews, starring as Matt Savetic in I Was a Communist for the FBI, and the second act of our story.
How long did I have before the Soviet agent Conestoy remembered seeing me with an FBI man? The knowledge of what would happen when he did was a cold, leaden ball in my stomach. As with Comrade Stephanie, I listened to Conestoy's final instructions on our new assignment to infiltrate Bryson University.
There is one professor at Bryson who will be your best asset, Comrade Svetchik. A Professor Walden.
Is he a fellow traveler?
A very reluctant one. You will have to play down everything except how communism will save the oppressed from the tyranny of fascism. Walden is fond of helping underdogs.
Well, can you get us a big name, Comrade Conestoy, someone to lecture the students?
I will send a wire tonight to Philip Stanley.
The singer?
Yes, he has a big reputation.
The kids will listen to him even if he is a pinko chump.
Will he come?
He'll come. He's a thoroughgoing exhibitionist. Now, here is some expense money. Comrade Stephanie?
Yes?
I'm sending you with Comrade Svetic for only one reason. So you can have the opportunity to get your thinking straight by watching his.
Well, I don't understand you.
He is an exemplary party worker. If you are wise, when you come back, you will be too. That's all. Good night.
Good night, Comrade Counterstoy.
Good night, Comrade.
Oh, Comrade Svetic.
Yes?
I've just remembered where I saw you.
Where?
At the meeting of the Control Commission the first day I arrived back here from the Lenin Institute.
Oh, no, I wasn't at that meeting.
Oh, I swear I had better remember it soon or it will be the death of me.
Bryson University. The usual ivied buildings and rolling green campus littered with students. Professor Walden turned out to be a thin, white-haired man with bent, iron-rimmed spectacles. His office was a 6-foot square of stale air wrapped around a battered desk and a stack of papers.
Your coming to see me like this has posed quite a moral problem, Mr. Savetic. Yes, indeed, quite a problem. You see, I am not sure I am in complete sympathy with communist teachings.
Oh, of course, but we're not here to ask you to become a communist, Professor. We merely ask you to work with us in bringing relief to the unfortunates of the world.
Oh? Well, in that case, what can I do to help?
2 things. Give us a list of students you believe to be in sympathy with our cause.
And the others?
We're going to organize a lecture. Philip Stanley, the famous singer, is flying all the way out here to address the students. It would be nice if you could act as master of ceremonies and introduce him.
Oh, why, of course, I'll be delighted. Philip Stanley, indeed.
Professor Walden gave us a list of 12 names, and we went right to work on it. Heading the list was a boy named Roger Vanning. We found him in the Student Union, a hodgepodge of noise and smoke which figures as the social center of any college.
My goodness, Matt, this is like Mardi Gras. We'll never find him in all this mess.
Sure we will, but keep moving or you'll be crushed.
Wow! Hey, fellas, get a load of this one. She's real great all the way.
Looks like you've made a hit, Stephanie. Ask him if he knows Vanning.
All right. Excuse me, but do you know where I can find Roger Vanning?
Yeah, yonder, Sam.
Oh.
Why not take a seat here, Dolly? For you, I'd go on the hook.
That'll do, Junior.
Don't tense, Dad. I ain't cruising for bruising.
Come on, Stephanie. That Roger Vanning looks like a kid who can vote. You'd better handle him alone. I'll try the next one on our list, Grace Sprocket. Meet you out front later. So you see, Miss Sprocket, it's up to the intelligentsia like yourself to lead the others.
I understand perfectly, Mr. Savetic. And I can promise you at least 20 students for the meeting.
Good. Philip Stanley will know of your work, I can assure you.
He will? I mean, of course, that I'm naturally quite pleased to be connected with Mr. Stanley in such a worthy cause. You may tell him he can depend upon Grace Sprocket.
Sure, I'll tell him. 4 days of work, and we had nearly 200 students lined up for our demonstration. I hired a hall near the campus, decorated it with the usual banners and slogans. During last-minute preparations, my mind was on Conestoy. Would he have remembered yet? Perhaps he had, and even now the goon squad was on its way.
Me. Oh, these are terrible acoustics, Vedic. Perfectly awful. Really shouldn't sing at all in a barn like this. After all, you know, these boys and girls are my public. They deserve to hear me at my best.
Oh, absolutely, Mr. Stanley. However, just being able to see you in person and hear your words of truth will inspire these young people to magnificent heights. They'll recognize you as something far greater than a singing star.
Greater than a star?
Of course. You'll be known as a social leader. A man destined to sway multitudes toward the goal of true socialistic society.
Well, I hadn't thought of it that way. Excuse me, Svetic. I think I'll go run over this speech you prepared for me.
Better practice it, knucklehead. I hope I can keep my dinner when I hear it.
Oh, Matt, come here a minute, will you?
Sure. What is it, Stephanie?
Well, I just wanted to check plans with you.
Okay. After his song, Stanley will give his talk. At the end, when he starts the Internationale, you give Grace Sprocket and the other agitators the signal to jump up and begin a community sing out of it.
And when the crowd's good and excited, Sprocket and company lead them off for a demonstration on Faculty Row.
Mm-hmm. And be sure the placards and signs are ready for them to pick up on the way out. Come on, let's get this thing rolling.
Ladies and gentlemen of Bryson, this evening marks the beginning of a new movement here in Bryson. A movement that will excite you as it has excited me. Tonight, we are striking a blow against oppression.
So, my beloved friends, here at Bryson, I want to thank you for your wonderful reception of my humble talent and words. In closing this meeting, I can only think of the words of a song dear to my heart and dear to the hearts of all who have compassion for the more unfortunate of this earth. Sing it with me. The words are on the sheets of paper you found in your seats. That's it. The Internationale. Sing it with me. Arise, ye victims of privation. Rise up, all ye who are forlorn. Sing it! Let's all sing it! Sing it loud! An end to degradation, for a new world being born.
Everything went off like clockwork. Excited by the speeches and music, and led by the screaming Grace Sprocket and her cohorts, the thoughtless kids eagerly snatched up the waiting placards and signs to start the demonstration on the campus. For an hour, Stephanie and I watched from the background as the shouting, chanting students paraded on Faculty Row.
Not a very pretty sight, Matt.
Are you crazy? It's exactly what we wanted.
The police. Matt, there'll be a riot for sure.
Right. That's why I called them. Come on, Stephanie. Our work here is done. Here we are, Stephanie. Back at the Little Red Schoolhouse. Come on. Conestoy's waiting for us.
Let him wait for a minute. I'm sick of it, Matt. I'm sick of the rottenness of the lying and cheating. Let's quit the party, you and I. We could go away together.
What? You must be out of your stupid mind, talking to me this way.
Oh, what are you going to do?
What do you think I'm going to do? I'm going to report you. The party has ways of dealing with treason.
Oh, no, please, don't turn me in, Matt. I'm sorry.
It's too late. Get inside.
I heard the report on the radio. You did a good job, comrades. What's the trouble? You look angry.
I am angry. This traitor just tried to make me quit the party.
Oh, did she? I told you, Comrade Stephanie. Comrade Svetlik is as solid as the Kremlin.
He sure is.
Wait a minute. You mean I was just being tested?
Testing high-ranking party members is my job, Comrade Fedek. I'm an agent of the MVD. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'll have to get back to town and file my report.
Tested. After all my years in the party.
Happens to all of us. Oh, yes. I have something for you. A reward. Here in this drawer.
Reward?
This. Put up your hands.
Gun? What's this all about? I don't understand.
FBI agent. That's where I saw you. You were talking to an FBI man. I told you I would remember.
Oh, now look, I can explain that.
Get out
This
to
fellow
my
just...
car, you dirty stool pigeon. Move!
What do you plan to do? Mind telling me?
Yes, I will be glad to. I want you to have time to be afraid. We are going to arrange a little suicide. Your suicide.
only hope was the FBI surveillance. Conestoy and I were at his car when the FBI men moved in on the run, Ed Grayson leading. Conestoy opened the car door just as Grayson squeezed a shot over our heads.
Down, Matt, down!
I hit the dirt in that precious second when Conestoy's attention was distracted by Grayson. Then Conestoy made his break.
Stop! Conestoy, stop! All right, then, get him!
FBI fire laced the night with red as it went over me, but Conestoy had a good start. He was getting away when he hit that bad curve, doing 70. Then there was nothing on earth that could save him as his car skidded over the steep embankment.
No use calling an ambulance. Conestoy's dead. Better clear out, fellows, and let the police handle this as an accident. I'll stick around and square it with them.
See you later, Greg. It's a tough way to go.
Lucky for you, though, Matt. You're free to keep on with your work.
Yeah, he was the only one who knew. Well, I better get out of here. I think I'll walk up and take a last look at the Little Red Schoolhouse. No, it wasn't the end of a story, nor the beginning. It was just a part of the strange war I was fighting. Freedom's a good cause. It made me feel contented, even though I knew that until the war was won, I'd always be a man who walked alone.
Our star, Dana Andrews, will return in a moment.
This is Dana Andrews. These stories we bring you are not fiction. They are dramatizations based on actual events and happenings that took place here, in this country, in the real-life experiences of Matt Cvetic. For obvious reasons, all names, dates, and localities have been changed. Next week, we'll dramatize another exciting adventure from Matt Cvetic's official records. We hope you will join us.
From 72 years ago, April 16th, 1952, I was a communist for the FBI here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Up next, another episode of the continuing story of Superman.
Ladies and gentlemen, last year's traffic death toll was 37,500, a 7% increase over 1950. The National Safety Council believes that the best way to promote safety on the road is for each of us to know and obey traffic laws, to read and heed traffic signs. So be careful. The life you save may be your own.
Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, we'll hear another episode of Superman, and you will hear Jackie Kelk, who plays Homer on the Aldrich Family, as Jimmy Olsen. And, of course, you will hear Superman played, as always, by the man who would end up being To Tell the Truth's own Bud Collyer. Superman, as it was originally broadcast 83 years ago, April 16th, 1941.
Presenting the transcription feature, Superman! Up in the sky! Look! It's a bird! It's a plane! It's Superman! And now, Superman, strange visitor from the planet Krypton.
who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, star reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle against crime and injustice. Jimmy Olsen and his newfound friend, the stowaway Pug Flanagan, are in grave danger aboard the Clara M as she moves slowly southward through a thick fog. In our last episode, we heard how Superman turned the tables on Teak Barnaby by taking over the ship and throwing Barnaby in irons. Barnaby, in possession of a treasure map, intended to sail the Clara M to the treasure island and find the treasure for himself. With Superman now in command, it seemed that Barnaby would be foiled. Then a radio message was received saying that two tankers had collided in the fog some 20 miles away and were sinking rapidly. Superman was forced to leave the Clara M and go to the rescue of the sinking ships. And then, as our last episode ended, the villainous sailor Limey entered the hold where Barnaby was locked in irons and... But wait. Listen. Now here's me plan. I'll set you free. Together we opens the seacocks of this here dub, scuttles her so she sinks fast, and then we gets away in an open boat, taking the treasure map with us, see?
We'll have to get the map first. Kent's got it.
We'll get it. Then we'll row to the mainland. With the map in our hands, we'll take ship for Sumatra, and after that, there's 100 ways of getting to that there treasure island, eh?
It's a good plan. All right, come on. Up to it. Get these irons off me. In a hurry.
No, there ain't no hurry. Let's take our time, I says, and do a thorough job, eh? There now.
I got a better way of sinking the ship.
Huh?
If we open the seacocks, it'll be discovered before the Clara M has time to sink.
What's your plan?
Well, there's a couple of cases of dynamite aboard.
Dynamite?
Eh? I had it brought on board before we left Metropolis.
Dynamite?
Figured I'd need it if we had to do any blasting to get the treasure. Well, it'll come in handy for another reason now. We'll use it to sink the Clara M.
Oh, I think I sees what you're up to. And a good idea, says I. Lay a time fuse to the dynamite, say. Get away in the open boat, and then, after we're gone, the old tub will blow up.
He's quick to catch on. Get out. Shake a leg with these irons.
All right. There. They're off.
That feels good. All right. Let's get started. You say you got a boat all provisioned?
Aye.
Then the first thing we've got to do is to get our hands on that treasure map.
And how are we going to do that, eh?
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, that map must be in Clark Kent's cabin. That Superman fellow jerked the map away from me. But he said Clark Kent would be master of this here vessel since he got back to Metropolis. The way I figure it, Superman must have given Kent that map.
Well, then come on. Let's get to Kent's cabin and see if we can find it. Find the map yet, Barnaby?
No. Keep looking. It must be somewhere in this cabin.
Why don't we strike a light?
Don't be a fool. We're lucky enough to get into Kent's cabin without him being here.
Aye.
Strike a light and somebody's bound to see it.
Wait a minute. Off them now.
Huh?
Blowmen fold, that's what we are.
What do you mean?
Well, that map wouldn't be here. If Superman made Clark Kent master of this here vessel, that map is probably laying safe and sound right this here minute in that little safe in the captain's cabin.
A little safe?
Aye.
Why didn't I think of that? Aye, Limey, you must be right. Come on. We're going to the captain's cabin.
Quiet, Barnaby, quiet. That wooden leg of yours makes too much noise.
Well, I can't help it. What's that? What's up?
Look there. Scotty and the two lads, Jimmy and Pug, is on the bridge. There ain't no one in the captain's cabin.
That's funny. Where's Kent? He's supposed to be master of the ship.
We won't worry about Kent. Come on. Let's get into that cabin and investigate that safe.
Right with you. Why, in the name of heaven, they'll hear us.
Some oil on these door hinges wouldn't hurt. All right, here we are.
And there's the safe. It's lucky I know the combination. Haven't been captain myself for a few days.
Up to it, then, and get that safe open.
Easy does it, my friend. I'm still in charge here, remember that? I'll give any orders as to be given.
I'm sorry, sir. Really,
Aye. Now, let's see. 4 left to 14. 3 right to 82.
Hurry.
2 left to 24. Back to 65. There. She should open. And sit down. Now, let's see now. This ain't it. This neither. And this also. Well, Slimy, we're right. Here it is, right enough.
A piece of old silk, eh?
Hey, the treasure map.
Get off it. Give it to me.
Never you mind. I'll take care of it.
Oh. Very well.
And now that we've got it, only one thing remains to be done.
All right, I'll get below and set a fuse for that dynamite.
Aye. And don't let's waste any time about it. Come on.
Having found the map which will lead them to the treasure, Teak, Barnaby, and Limey go below decks to set a time fuse which will blow up the Clara M. Meanwhile, miles away, speeding through the thick fog, Superman rushes to the aid of the sinking tankers. Listen.
Faster. Faster. Even now I may be too late. The radio operator said the two ships were sinking fast. I'd rather it hadn't been necessary for me to leave the Clara M, but with Teak, Barnaby, and chains, there shouldn't be any trouble. Jimmy and Pug Flanagan are perfectly safe, I'm sure. There's no need to worry. This job shouldn't take too long, and then I'll return to the Clara M as quickly as I can. Wonder what Editor White will say about that treasure map when we get back to Metropolis. It may mean... Wait, there below. The sinking ship. Down! Down! Those ships are going down fast, and they can't launch their boats. A good many of those men will lose their lives if I don't save them. This is a job for Superman. Down! Down!
And so Superman reaches the scene of the wreck and goes to the aid of the stricken ships. Meanwhile, on the bridge of the Clara M, Jimmy and Pug talk with Scotty, the new first mate, unaware that in the hold of the ship a time fuse is burning slowly toward 3 cases of dynamite. Listen.
No, for the last time I tell both you lads I don't know what's happened to your friend Clark Kent. You'd be knowing more about that than I would.
But, Scotty, the last time we saw him, he was with Superman. Superman came into that dungeon, below deck, broke Mr. Kent's chains, and took him away.
Well, your Mr. Kent wasn't with Superman when that there fancy dress fellow took over the Clara M.
Yeah, Superman told you Kent was going to be captain, ain't that right?
And so he will be, lad, when he turns up. In the meantime, following Superman's orders, I'm taking charge of the Clara M.
You say we're steering our course for 2 tankers that collided 20 miles from here?
That we are. Thinking rapid they are from what the wireless messages tell us. I doubt we'll arrive in time to save them. Let's hope there's a faster vessel than ours standing nearby to save them.
I sure hope so.
There, lad, 'tis best not to upset yourself about it. 'Tis the way of the sea. There's many a ship's gone down, and many a sailorman gone down with it. And every sailorman in time learns to take such things philosophic-like. You live and you die by the sea, and you... Here, I'm talking too much, I can see that. Let's turn our thoughts to something pleasant, like that there treasure map, eh?
Hey, that's something, ain't it? When I stowed away in this tub, I never thought I'd get mixed up with a buried treasure. And maybe you won't. Scotty here says Superman gave orders to turn back to Metropolis. Yeah. Me, I'd give my right arm to be sailing off of the Indian Ocean. Any place but Metropolis. I sure hate to be going back to that burg. Say, why did you stow away, Pug? And why are you afraid to go back to Metropolis? Pal, if you had my old man, you shouldn't talk about your father that way. He ain't never been no father to me. Why, that guy when I was... Listen,
Scotty,
if you knew...
Hey, Scotty, listen.
Here, you, it's Mr. McTavish from now on.
All right, Mr. McTavish, then listen, something funny's happened. I just found one of the lifeboats is missing.
What's that? One of the lifeboats missing?
Yeah, more than that. The missing boat made me suspicious, and I had to look at the next boat.
Well, what about it?
Somebody stove a hole in it with an axe.
What are you talking about?
I'm telling you straight, every lifeboat's got a hole stove in her. Every single one of them.
Gosh, man, that doesn't make sense. One of the boats missing, and the rest of them with holes stove in them.
Barnaby.
What's that, lad?
Barnaby. He's escaped. I know it.
Barnaby? By heavens, the lad's right. That's the only answer. You there.
Aye, sir.
Get below to the brig where you can put Barnaby in irons.
Aye.
Find out if he's still there.
I can answer that, sir.
What? Who are you?
Come up from below. Went down to bring Barnaby some food. He ain't there, sir. He's gone. Limey's gone with him.
Limey?
So that's it. Limey helped Barnaby escape. And then they made off in that lifeboat after breaking holes in the rest of them so we couldn't follow them.
But why would Limey help Barnaby escape?
The treasure, lad, the treasure. Limey hoped to get past it. Heaven help us.
Now what's the matter?
The map. They wouldn't make off without first getting the treasure map. Come on, boys. We've got to get to the captain's cabin right away.
Oh, here's the cabin, but...
Look, the safe. It's been broken into. The map's gone.
Well, I guess there's no doubt of it now. Barnaby's escaped and taken the treasure map with him. Gosh, if only Superman was here. Or even Mr. Kent. They'd know what to do.
I wish they were here, too. Because I don't mind telling you I'm all at sea. If I only...
Great day. What was that?
Explosion. Below decks.
What's happening? What goes on here?
Barnaby's work, I'll be bound. Now I see it if you don't. Now I understand why those lifeboats were stove in. If those explosions are what I think they are, we'll be sinking any minute. And we can't do a thing to save ourselves. Not one blasted thing.
Look out. Flames. Flames shooting up from the hold.
Aye, fire. And I was right. Lads, we're doomed. Doomed. Without lifeboats, there's not one thing we can do to save ourselves.
Barnaby and Limey have done their work well. With the lifeboats rendered useless and the Clara M going up in flames, what can save our friends now? Be sure to hear the next thrill-packed episode of our story with Superman.
Tune in the next thrilling installment of the transcription feature, Superman.
Up in the sky. Look, it's a bird.
It's a plane. It's Superman. Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Action Comics magazine.
83 years ago, April 16th, 1941, Superman here on Classic Radio Theater. Thank you so much for tuning in. Our next time around, we'll have tomorrow, Frontier Town, Gunsmoke, Have Gun Well Traveled, Suspense, and The Strange Dr. Weird. Visit our webpage at classicradio.stream, and we'll see you next time around. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.